We are live. What's good, y'all? Your man Dale Saint. Welcome. I really want to know podcast, man. I'm excited today, man. Happy Monday. I hope y'all week got off to a good start. I hope you had a good weekend wherever you are. Yo, today I'm excited, man. We're gonna talk about one of my favorite topics, and that's traveling. And this is this show where I had to bring in the heavy guns. I had to get my man PD up in here, which was my travel mentor once I got out of the military. We're from the same city. You know what I mean? Perry's very successful attorneys, built an amazing practice, did it all right. And, he had to take me up under his wing and, man, showed me how to travel. So when I hear y'all youngsters out here talking about what y'all doing, I tell my stories. And, yeah, I was out there in the 90s, late 90s. We down in Aruba. You know what I mean? We down there doing it big. Worked our way up to where y'all guys started. We're going to talk about that today. So, hey, man, let's just get into it. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. Get some indeed. And don't be shy out there, people, for real. Do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, man. Is anyone out there that you think needs to hear this, make sure you go ahead and share that with them. The algorithm loves that. We're making a big push to get to the next level. I can't say I lost in YouTube because less than 3% of all YouTubers ever get monetized, and I'm monetized. So already won, but I'm trying to just push forward. Y'all know what it is. And real quick, before we get started, man, prayers and condolences, man, to our brothers and sisters down in Colombia. Apparently, there was a really big earthquake today. It's gonna be. They say it was as big as the one in Venezuela. So they're right next to each other, along the same fault line, more likely. So prayers and condolences for our brothers and sisters down there. And do me a favor, man, jump in that comment section, stay active in the chat. We got Brother Pitney in the building. Please like the video. We got Brother Mandrell in the building. What's happening? My favorite Green Beret. What's up, Devil? What's up, Snake Eater? How you feeling, bro? Definitely pray for Colombian, man. So, hey, let's get to it. My man coming up here is a very, very busy man. I'm extremely blessed to have him as a close personal friend, man. We've been like thick as thieves for decades, man, from the same neighborhood. This brother's background is crazy, man. Like, I'm saying he's an attorney. He's a good guy, but can I say he has ties to Bumpy Johnson? I don't know. We'll let him answer that. Yo, what's happening, Perry? How you feeling, man?
All right, how you
Marco?
feeling now?
Doing all right. So, man, first of all, I appreciate you, bro. Like, just so y'all know, like, my brother is always busy. One of these days, I'm gonna sit him down. Maybe I can catch him down in Miami for Lauderdale somewhere, and do an in-person video so he can tell you how hard it is to be a successful person. You know what I mean? Like, people think, before we get into what we came to talk about, Perry, I just want to ask you. People think I'm gonna go to college, get accepted into law school, go to law school, come out, and bam, I'm gonna make millions of dollars. Is that how that works?
Not that I know of. It didn't happen like that for me. I mean, I went to work, I went to hustle, you know what I'm saying? Now, I had a head start on certain people because, where I came from, but I went to work. So, I had
work.
I had some crazy clients, Renee and Angela, Bruce with Dean, we did J-Lo, we had some clients, but
yeah,
you had to go
in
to
the
work.
studio with Mike. He was like in the studio with Biggie, Mike, like you had all that.
Yeah, we was doing our thing, Jazz from Jodeci and all Drew Hill, and we did them all, but it was an adventure, that's for sure.
Yeah, so y'all folks think I'm just gonna go to college and do whatever, come out and this instant money. Like, no, bro, that's when the work really starts.
Yeah, that's what it is. You got to. Don't nobody know who you are. You got to get out there. I mean, I was at
Right.
every nightclub in the city passing out cards, here to New York,
From here to New York, all the way down to Miami to LA. I mean, we was up
LA,
and down. Yeah, we was up and down Melrose when Melrose were popping.
up and
Perry out there
down
talking business.
Melrose, Sunset, we was doing our thing.
For sure, man. So, all right. So now that that's a good segue to what we're talking about. Because I mean, yeah, we from Cincinnati, but like I wound up in LA, living in LA as an air traffic controller. You were always out there, and my people was like, Perry out there. Like, I ain't know that. So we get together, and it's like day one, we was just in the trenches, bro. Like when I can't keep up with this guy. And y'all need to understand something. This man don't drink. This man don't do nothing. You ain't got no vices. Only vice I can think of is you like to chase women. That's all I can think of.
That's the only vice I know I got, but I'm trying to get a hold of that one,
So and real quick before, because I definitely want I want Perry to really break it down, man. A lot of people are talking about what's going on with travel and with the passport bros, especially in Colombia. I'm gonna let Perry tell you guys, why. I ain't gonna lie, we go ahead and just call him a subject matter expert, and this, just based on experience and all that. But before we get there, there's a book by Aaron Clary. It's like a guy in the red pill space, manosphere, manoswamp. And he wrote a book called The Book of Numbers. And this book basically breaks down how much money a man spends in pursuit of women, like trying to find a mate or just, just out here dating or whatever, doing what they're doing from age 18 to like age 50. Perry, when I say the book scary, bro, because he's a stats guy, he's a numbers guy, right? And he gets in there, he shows all his work. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I looked at that thing and I was trying to figure out my number. And we're talking about everything like dates, taking flights, hotels, gifts, just basic stuff. And I mean, I asked a lot of people this, like, what's your number? Like, I'll tell you my number. I think my number is somewhere north of, I'm gonna say probably 800,000 from age 18 until 50.
Right.
Because those trips to Europe, the trips to Japan, South Korea. What would you say your number is? Just pursuit of women, and also you got to throw in there like marriage and child support and all that.
Oh, you throw that in, that's a whole different ball game. That's a stratosphere kind of number you talking about now. My ex-wife looked across the table from me and asked for $5 million. I said, "Who do you think you married?"
Did you look back like somebody?
Yeah. So I'm like, she said, "Well, you got a studio in LA and y'all just signed in Vogue." I said, "Hey, that's my client's studio. I ain't got no studio in LA."
Right. That's my client's car. Remember that time we got pulled over by Inglewood police? Man, they got good Inglewood, boy.
Right. I remember that. He give you a Mercedes. We driving around the Lexus truck, the Mercedes, the Cadillac, Oh, I remember the party we had up there in the house. He gave me the house,
hold on. We don't get that. Yeah.
That's another story. Another story for another day.
That's for members only. Like, we are gonna have to get behind the paywall for that story. Because boy, man, we got a few, them early morning knocks on the door, bro. Anyway.
Hey.
So let's get into what we came here to talk about, man. So, and fellas, if y'all out here, look, ladies, if there's some ladies out there, no, we got a few ninja watchers out there. If anybody got any questions, make sure y'all throw it in the chat. If you really want me to see it right away, if you got it like a quick little $1 super chat or something like that, it'll catch my attention. Plus, it's good to help the channel grow. And don't forget, back on the first, we started the members only section, guys. I'm gonna work on some sort of promo where I can get maybe I get you guys in for like, join for the first month free or something like that. I'm working on it, guys. But it's $5 a month. And the money doesn't go to partying or anything like that. It's not so I can go catch up with Perry and Medellin and nothing like that. It's so I can grow the platform. All the equipment and just staying online, like just in AI alone. I'm spending, just to maintain the show. We do about $100, $200 a month just to maintain the show. Looks like Perry probably just backed out for a second. He'll be back up here in a minute. He probably had to go check on something. But if you got any questions whatsoever, man, throw it in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer it. Perry is a very experienced traveler. You know what I mean? So you name it on planet Earth, and between the two of us, one of us has been there. You know what I mean? Anywhere you care to think of, one of us has been there. So so yeah, I'm doing. We might be having a little bit of technical difficulty. No, he's coming back. He'll be back. Let me see. So once Perry gets back, so while he's gone, man, I'll just tell a quick story. My first time in Medellin, I'm with P, right? I'm with P.
Can you hear me? I lost you for a minute.
I got you now. Yep, we got you back. I see you and hear you. Can you hear me? Perry, can you hear me? No, I can hear you. So, like I said, we got a little bit of a technical difficulty here. I'm gonna text Perry and say, I'm gonna tell him to just maybe log out and log back in. And I'm gonna tell y'all this story. The first time he took me to Colombia, we were at the mall. Hold on, guys. You know we do it live, so it is what it is. I can hear him, like Perry. I can hear you. This is for P. Like check your text. Oh yeah, he's on the phone. He's using his phone. So I'm letting you know I can hear him, but he can't hear me. Yep, you said he can't hear me.
I can hear you now.
You got me now? Okay, cool. I was about to tell you log out, log back in. All right, so we good, guys. We good. We back now. Don't go nowhere. So here we go. First time I'm in Medellin, right? Perry got me at the El Dorado Mall. We walking around the mall, and I'm looking around. Look, I've been in the trenches. I've been a wild boy ever since I was 13. So I ain't afraid to go holler at nobody. It is what it is. Me and Perry walking shoulder to shoulder through the mall, and everywhere I look, I see dime. There's going another dime over there. And I'm not exaggerating. I got a high standard, bro. If I say she a 10, if she a 10 in my book, this time me just talking ish. If she a 10 in my book, she's certainly a 10 in yours. You know what I mean? Like your standard might be as high as mine, but it ain't higher. And I'm just looking around like, wow. And this is before the BBL thing took off, man. So these women were just walking around looking damn good. Perry telling me, all right, this is how it works, man. You know, don't be slamming the doors. You know what I'm saying? Don't be wearing no shorts, no sandals, nothing like that. And, you know, he just walking along, you know, telling the rules to me. Next thing you know, he looked back. He looked like off his shoulder, man. I ain't even there. He just walking down the thing, talking to himself. He looked back, man. You can see my legs hanging out the drive-through window or whatever in the mall at the McDonald's, trying to get me an ice cream. I'm trying to talk to the girl making an ice cream cone. Perry, like, boy, get your butt over here, man. What you doing? You ain't seen nothing yet. You remember that, P?
Oh, I remember. I remember like it was yesterday. The only correction is it was Santa Fe Mall. That's the name of the mall.
Oh, I said El Dorado. My bad. Santa Fe. I said El Dorado.
Santa Fe Mall. Yeah, with the retractable roof. The mall with the retractable roof. Yeah. And yeah, it was insane. But the whole city's been insane. I mean, that's the one thing I will say. I've traveled maybe everywhere I wanted to go. And they have probably the prettiest women in the world. So it's just amazing over there.
Absolutely. So let's get into the travel, man. Before we get to the nitty gritty, what made you want to travel? And what was your first trip? Going way back when, like when the first time you decided I'm gonna get my passport, I'm gonna go see the world. Because for me, it was in the military. The military sent me all over the world. But for you, what was the spark?
Well, my first one, when I went out the country, you know, I was representing Renee Moore. People don't know that's from the Renee and Angela group. And we had every January, there was a music festival in Cannes. So he said, look, you got to go to the music festival. I was his attorney because I didn't have a passport and it was Monday. We were leaving on Friday. So I had to figure out a way. And the name on my birth certificate was different than the name on my driver's license. So I had to go to probate court, do all this, change this in 5 days. So I ran around, got it done. I knew a couple of judges. They signed off, blah, blah, blah. So we wound up going to Cannes, France. Then we went from Cannes to Nice to Monte Carlo. And we were going back and forth, Cannes, Nice, Monte Carlo. So, and I was like, oh my God, it's a whole different world out here. So that's when I decided it's time to get out of Avondale.
Exactly. Exactly. We're a long way from Avondale. You talking about?
Oh my God.
Were you guys over there for a music festival, or were you there for the movie thing?
No, there's a music festival that's every January. So we went to the music. I was on the plane sitting next to Wyclef Jean, the guy at that time, I think the palm was out, the blackberries and the palm and all that. The guy who invented the palm was actually our host. So he took us
Wow.
around, he had money that was coming out the wazoo. He paid for everything, for the hotels, and it was just crazy. It was crazy money over. They were giving the money away. The guy asked me one time, he said, "Look, I know you know these people. I give you enough money to start a record company." He was ready to write a check. I said, "No, no, no, wait a minute. I don't want to take your money." I said, "I'm an attorney for a record company already. I'm not looking to start my own company. But if I'd have known now what I know then, I'd have took that check and started a company." But there was so much money being just thrown around at that particular time. It was crazy. So
Damn.
that was my first experience when I saw Monte Carlo. And to this day, that's the most money I've ever seen in one place was Monte Carlo. It was ridiculous.
Man, Perry, if we was kicking it tight back then when he made that offer, I wouldn't have been an air traffic controller. I'd have been running your music company.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Man, I would have been running your music company, man. So that's what got you the bug. So you were telling me you were over there somewhere. Remember you at the restaurant?
Yeah, that's when the guy left a $4,000 tip. That's when I had to suppress Avondale. I was like, Lord have mercy. Ain't nobody deserves no $4,000 tip, but it wasn't my money. I said, yeah, that's
You know what I
Avondale was
mean? Yeah,
coming
Donald J.
out.
DeMarco. Boy, my man DJ DeMarco like could have been the next Suge. Perry would have been Suge before there was a Suge Knight. You talking about before all that stuff blew up.
Oh yeah, it was before that. Yeah, but it was crazy. It was money everywhere over there. Because
Perry
Monte
said they had
Carlo,
so much money. Oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Monte Carlo
You was
looked
talking
at
about it.
$250,000 as like we looked at 5,000. They was like, "Oh, you just need $250,000? I can write you that today." You know,
$250,000 right here you go. Like just like me and you about to
oh
go
yeah,
buy some Jordans or something.
right, right. That's how they looked at it. It was crazy.
That's that big money. And I tell like a lot of guys, and before I continue, I almost forgot. I gotta show my man DJ DeMarco some love, man. I ain't didn't hit the air horn for him. Appreciate you, fam. I tell you guys a lot, man. Like networking is so important. Like networking equals your net worth. I mean, depending on what's going on. Listen to the story that Perry just said right there, bro. A professional guy running his business, a good man doing good things, and he's over here around all these 1%ers, and they're just throwing money around like we throw around peanuts. Like here you go,
Mhm.
you 250,000. What do you need? 1.5 million? All right, just give me a couple days on that. you
Right.
know,
Oh yeah, it was crazy. But yeah,
crazy. So all right, and
that
then
was the
you
first thing that got me started.
that was the first thing. And then you was talking about the real quick and we'll move on, but the restaurant, you said the one guy you kept putting your jacket on
Oh
your
yeah, they
chair.
had they had a guy whose job in the hotel. This is the same hotel that they did James Bond's movies from. They had a
Oh,
guy and he was a black guy, a black French guy. His job was to come by and take your jacket off your coat because there's a rule you can't put your jacket at the back of a coat.
oh,
So I
back of your
kept putting
chair.
back of your chair. So I kept putting my jacket back there, and he'd come up, he'd fold it. "Well, sir, you can't do that." And I said, "Can't do what? It's my jacket." I'm just my, what's the big deal? He said, "No, you can't do that in this hotel." So after about the third time, I said, "Let me ask you something. How much do they pay you to do this?" He said, "They give me 75,000 a year." I said, "Well, keep doing your job." I just let him fold it. I said, "No."
75.
And this was back in the 90s, and I'm like, Lord have mercy. But yeah, that's what he was doing.
Wow. And it's just, and this is why we tell you guys, because now we're going to talk about really delving into the travel part. You should be traveling just so you can see how the rest of the world is, not necessarily so you can do whatever it is you're trying to do. It's all about immersing yourself in the culture. And to me, that's what I find the most enriching thing. Now, having said that, if I'm somewhere and I see a beautiful woman in France or Germany or Spain or Switzerland or Sweden, yeah, I'm gonna holler. You know what I mean? All day long, bro. We from Avondale, man. It's how we was born.
Holla, 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 holla.
All day. You know what I mean? So and I appreciate DJ DeMarco with the super chat, man. Don DeMarco to that, man. Appreciate the $5, man. I really do.
Dom DeMarco.
He's like, I used to produce. I still do here and there. I got a home studio. Anyhow, do you think I super chatted before? So here's my first. Yep. This might be your first super chat, bro. I appreciate you, brother. So Perry, Now we understand why you started traveling. That was one hell of a first trip. I gotta tell you, my first international trip was to a war zone. You over there doing your thing.
Yeah,
You know,
it was different. It was different. But I found one important thing. I went over there. All entertainers want to be somebody else, because it was so funny how many of them really wanted to be lawyers. They wanted to talk about law. I wanted to talk about the business. But that, like Renee, he thinks he's a lawyer now. He's suing everybody, but representing himself. But that's just, it's funny how that was, because I know you remember Gangster. We used to take Gangster to meetings to throw people off.
and she would definitely throw you off. Like what? Gangster, hologram.
Oh yeah, all of
Yeah, I wonder what happened to Baby Kelly. We'll talk about that later. So
well, I know exactly what Baby Kelly is. Yeah.
she's still doing. Nah, she's got to be retired by now.
Yeah, she living in Nashville, Tennessee.
No kidding.
Yeah, she's married. Well, she was married last I talked to her, but she lives in Nashville now.
Hey man, next time you talk to her, man, tell her I said what's up, man. She was cool, man. She was just too young. The reason we call her Baby Kelly is when we met her, she was barely 18. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's before everybody really knew what was up with R. Kelly. So that's what we called her Baby Kelly. Like that's R. Kelly bait right there. But she went on to do her thing, man. Shout out to her. She was doing her thing as a grown up.
Right.
So that was your first trip. So all right. So for you, it was mostly business. But as you said, when you're dealing with the 1%ers and the stars and that, they want to talk about what you do because they want a real conversation. What was the nightlife like, and what was it like when you were over there as far as like hollering at chicks and whatnot?
It's funny because one of the, I would say, 10 most beautiful women I've ever seen was in Cannes. I mean, she was just spectacular. Funny colored eyes, the hair down her back, the whole 9 yards. And I remember thinking, I said, Lord have mercy, how am I going to stay over here in France? I was like,
Did you ask, dude, hey, can I get a job folding coats over here, man?
yeah, do
75K a
something.
year.
I was like, look, let me see how much I charge to sweep a street or something. Let me know. She was off the chain. But it was just a different environment. I remember sitting and having like a little parkade over in Monte Carlo, because you'll see it now on TikTok. They drink, all they come in with their little Rolls Royces and Lamborghinis, and they just park right there. But I remember sitting there and I was talking to these young ladies. I said, it's kind of funny. How come none of y'all are in college? And they all just started giggling and laughing. And I said, and they was like, what do you mean college? I said, aren't y'all, go to university? She said, no, everybody sitting here has a trust fund of at least $100 million. I said, well, not everybody. I can tell you that right now.
Where do you sign up for that?
Yeah. I said, who's your daddy?
Yo, that's wild, P. Like you might be like smashing her and screaming out her daddy name. Like,
oh yeah. I mean, it was amazing. I was like, and then I watched them all get up and go to their cars. They all had their little Bentleys, the Lamborghinis, the Ferraris. I said, well, they 18 years old with a Bentley. I said, do your thing. It was
what
just a
year was
different
this?
environment. That probably was 98, 97, something like that. That's when I first started hanging out with Renee.
That's when I first moved to LA. So you're right. That was like right at the end of 97 into 98.
Right.
Because I caught up with you the end of 98, I think.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Man, that's insane, bro. $100 million trust fund. Say everybody out here got at least $100 million trust fund.
I was like, no, not all of us, but appreciate that knowledge.
So you never had no drama, no issues wherever you travel. Pull up, go right through customs.
I really had never had any issues anywhere, so it never bothered me. That's why I was amazed at all the issues that they're having now in Medellin, because I was going to Medellin, it was just me on the plane. So now then I look around, it look like Soul Plane, but now it's back to just me.
So let's get into that, because you hit me up and he was like, yo, man, and we was talking about this issue. And I'm like, yeah, man, it's all over in these YouTube trenches. People talking about Medellin. Guys are being refused entry. Guys are being, I guess, deported or expelled because, they weren't trying to live there, but the authorities would come get them, snatch them up and put them on a plane and tell them they got to leave. When we went, again, I guess we should start in Aruba because, we started going to Aruba, which I still think is one of the, coolest little getaways. I tell dudes all the time, like, you got your little something. You want to do something that's not too elaborate, but it ain't ghetto. I think Aruba's a cool spot. I I haven't been since we were down there, to be honest with you. It's been a long
Yeah,
time.
I was there probably 4 months ago. I
Still
just got
cool?
it's still cool. I mean, it's still got the good side and it's got the happening side. So depending on what side you on.
So I was telling people about the happening side. I was on another brother's platform, and we were out. They were asking me, why do I think these issues are going on? And the reason these issues are going on, in my opinion, is because, like I said earlier, a lot of these brothers, they're not traveling so they can get to know the world or broaden their horizons. They're just trying to use a cheat code, circumvent, and just be able to talk to some beautiful women, maybe smash some beautiful women or whatever. And
Mhm.
I think the rest of the world's just kind of gotten tired of it, especially like Colombia, Brazil. They say maybe the Philippines is getting like this too. They're just getting tired of it. Guys coming down, I think that these dudes are bringing the worst aspects of America to these countries, in particular Colombia. And I'm watching these videos of these guys like throwing money in the club and getting bottles and all that. Why go to Colombia to do that? You can do that here.
Right.
What's your take on all that?
Well, I think part of the problem is what you said. They don't know how to act. The other problem is they don't know the rules of the game. That's the other problem. For example, when you go to Colombia, there's a certain decor that you're supposed to act. You're supposed to be seen but not seen. And they want to be seen and heard, and that's not how Colombia is. It never was like that. But they didn't understand the rules of the game because a lot of them started out in Colombia. See, so they didn't understand that there's steps to get to Colombia. We went through Aruba, we went through Costa Rica, we went to Panama, then we went to to Colombia. He said, not to mention Brazil and all these other places out there, but they don't understand how to handle themselves. So they just jump off into Colombia being loud, wearing gold chains, shorts, flip flops. I mean, it just got to be. Then they talk so much on the plane about what they're gonna do. They don't understand it. They don't want to hear that. I remember when I was in Costa Rica, there's a guy on YouTube who used to call himself Cuba Dave. Cuba Dave used to do this way before the Passport Brothers. He would tell everything in Costa Rica. This is where you go to find a girl. This is how much you got to pay the girl. Then you lead the girl to go over to this spot. But he didn't understand that country, although prostitution was legal, they have a law that you can't promote prostitution. So he went to
Mm.
the airport one day. Next thing you know, he didn't get out for 2 years. They arrested him. They stuck him 2 years in jail, no trial, no anything, just 2 years. Sit your butt down. And because he violated that law that you can't promote prostitution. See, there's a certain thing that you can't do. But he just thought you could say, hey, you can go to Del Rey, you can go to Sportsman's Lodge, you can go to Zona Blue, get your girl, blah, blah, blah. And he's showing where to go. He doing a little tour. Same thing these Passport Brothers are talking about. But he didn't know there was a law that you can't promote it. Well, Colombia's got a same type of law over there. So they looking at these brothers as promoting things they don't want promoted, although it's legal, but it's not legal to do what they're doing because they're looking at it. That's like pimping, and it's kind of, which is illegal. So it's kind of crazy that they don't understand. You can't go over there, and they trying to get followers, trying to get clicks. I understand all that, but you got to be a way of doing it. As I watched Rampage Jackson, he's over there last week doing the same thing. So I mean, it's just this thing got out of hand. So you want to promote what you're doing, and that country don't want it anymore. So they want you out of there.
See, I hope y'all paying attention, man. I hope y'all got y'all number 2 pencils out because there will be a test at the end of this podcast. I hope y'all listening because, first of all, because you're in the legal field, is that something you do? And I encourage that with folks. I'm like, hey, if you're going to go somewhere, guys are like, hey, man, I'm thinking about going to the Congo or I'm thinking about going to South Africa. First thing I do is like, hey, man, what's the State Department say right now about that place? Have you ever done that, or you just kind of know where to go and you're not going to any wild joints?
Well, I generally do my research on where I want to go, because but then again, I've been going to Colombia since 2009, so
Before that, wasn't it?
I think Beyonce was there 2011. I saw the Beyonce concert, so I was there 2 or 3 years before that. That's all I remember. So 2008, 2009, I started going over there.
Yeah, because I was down there. You had me down there in '08. I
So
wanted to
yeah,
say '07. We went down there.
it might have been. I just know I was way before Beyonce.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And because Beyonce was there, the Snoop was there, and I was a vet by then. So, but it's just it's a way of acting. Because when I used to go there, it would be just me on the plane as far as black, and then gradually there was a few more people, then a few more people, And then after a while, it was like soul plane. I was looking for Snoop driving the plane. You know, it was like crazy after a while. You know, but then
I remember. Oh, go ahead.
the funny thing is, when I went 2 weeks ago, it was back to me on the plane. So I didn't see the whole circle change.
Well, that coincides also with the change in airlines and airfare is going up.
Oh yeah, Spirit did a number. So once they lost Spirit, that killed a whole lot of people going over there because it went from 300 to 400 to fly to 11 to 1200 to fly. So that's going to change a whole lot, and you don't see as many as us over there anymore.
So let's focus on Colombia right now, and we're talking about just understanding the game and knowing what's going on. There's definitely a cultural shift. So, like you said, Colombia is doing what they do. It's just kind of in the shadows. It's kind of grown man. We know what's going on. We don't speak on it. You know, it's kind of like a gentlemanly thing. As far as the spas, as far as the brothels, as far as the girls in the game just walking around, and America looks at that as it's a taboo. You're not supposed to be doing like, yo, you're paying for the Foxy Brown, you're paying for the for the access, but they don't look at it that way in Colombia.
Well, it's a matter of life and death over there. See, they look at it as if we ain't don't do that, how we gonna eat? When your
Okay.
minimum wage is $2 an hour, I could work all day for $10, or I could get out here and get some money because my grandma got to eat, my mother got to eat, my daddy in my pocket, my sister in my pocket. You know, if you're a big sister, who gonna take care of little sister? Mama ain't got no job. So it's a whole different ball game over there. See, we look at it differently because we're in America. We think, oh, you can get a job, you can get a job. It ain't the same over there. Plus, they don't have sexual harassment like we do over here.
Mm,
So you get a job over there, but the boss all of a sudden want to sleep with you. You don't sleep with the
mm.
boss, you're fired. So somebody else gonna sleep with the boss. I mean, that's just how it works over there. It's a whole different ball game. So it's a life or death situation.
So those girls ain't over there gold digging and chasing a bag so they can get this money and go buy a Birkin. They're gonna get this money so they keep the lights on. They're gonna get this Birkin so they can pay for the medical care for their family.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, you got some hustlers over there that's gonna hustle, but even the hustlers still got to pay the mama. They still got to pay for. I had a friend of mine. When I first met her, she worked at a factory. Beautiful girl, just drop dead gorgeous. 5'8", 5'9", hair down the back, just almost picturesque. And she called me. She said she just was crying. I said, "What are you crying about?" She said, "Well, my mother went to her mother's brother owned a factory, and told him, hey, she can work in the street. I can't fire her. I need a job. So they fired her and told her to go to the streets. So she wound up going to the streets. She didn't want to be in the streets. Her mama put in the streets. So it's a
Damn.
different ball game over there.
I mean, wait. We gotta hear that again. Hold on. Hold on. Could y'all imagine you going to the factory and telling the factory boss to fire your niece or your cousin or your daughter and be like, look, she fine. She can go on the street and get in the game. I need this job.
Right.
Could you imagine if that happened in America?
Oh, and that's it's a lot of stuff like that. If you look at Griselda, I can't think of Griselda's last name. The
Blanco.
one that because Griselda Marcos, in her true story, her mother put her in the streets. That's the first thing that came on in the movie. Her mama put her in the streets to go sleep with a guy. She was 8. She was 8 years old. So that's just the way it works over there.
Damn. Okay, so that's why they kind of look at it because America and our morals. They say America, we're morals, we're in our high horse, but then you got Epstein, and then you got all these other kids doing all these, all these entertainers and all these whatever doing their thing. Down there, it's a matter of survival. And you know what's funny? You remember Alex and Aruba,
Aruba, right?
and Alex was telling us he was because here's the thing with me. What blew my mind about what was going on with the sex workers and whatever down there, be it Aruba, Curacao, or Colombia, the women were so cool. The women were so feminine. And it was just like you said, they were victims of circumstance. And most of the women in Aruba were there working with the cartels because somebody in their family done messed up some money.
Right.
And they were like, either you go over there and work it off, or we gonna we're gonna, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna delete your uncle, your brother, your father, your cousin, whoever, and then the whole family pressures you. Okay, you're gonna go out, you're gonna have to go over there and do that.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't. That blows my mind. And I tell these guys, I say, hey man, these women, they look at it as it's a job. Am I wrong? Isn't it for some of those women? Maybe a lot of them is like they punch in on the clock, and then when their day is done, they just like, all right.
Well, I had a bunch of them used to try to tell me, see, that's just work. I said, well, you got to explain that to me, baby. She said, well, it's not sex, it's just work. It's still sex.
So, but they look at it like that. Some guys were asking me about Aruba, and I was like, look, bro, if you have game, like and it doesn't really matter, like, because we would talk to the chicks, we walking around, I'm like, man, I don't feel like doing that. And the girls are like, I don't want to do that either. I want you to come get me at this time. Me done 3 o'clock.
3 a.m. Right.
Right. And I remember, just we pull up, they jump in the car, like, you know what I'm saying?
Like the Flintstones. Like it's the Flintstones.
Just like the Flintstones. So it's a different world, fellas. And a lot of these guys, I tell them, like, you're a passport, bro. You're getting an opportunity to talk to women and be with women that you ain't never been with, probably never get a chance to be with. But you still need your game. Right. You need that game, or they're gonna line you up and run your pockets, man. So
and the other thing that they don't understand about the game is if they smell blood, they are unbelievable on you. I mean, I would tell people all the time, Colombian are the prettiest women that I've ever seen. But if they open their mouth, it's a lie. Because if their mouth is running, believe about a third of it, because 2/3 of it is a lie. And probably that other third is too. But I had a girl one time, she called me up and she was bawling out crying. Because she never called me on a video camera, but this time she had to do the whole performance. So she called and she was crying and she was saying, Perry, I want you to see this paperwork. I'm dying. They found cancer in me and I don't think I can make it. I just need a little help with the medicine. And I said, let me see the paperwork. So she sent me the paperwork. She took a picture of it, put it on WhatsApp. I'm looking at it. I'm reading it. It's okay, cancer, blah, blah, blah. I'm reading that. Okay. I said, the only problem with this, she said, what? I said, this ain't your name. So she said, so how's your day going?
Just shift gears.
Just like it was nothing. I'm like, what about that lie you just told?
What about you finna die? That part.
Yeah. What about that part? It's like it's a guy. I think I told you about him. He's got a little thing where Hottie and Communal 13, a little chick. He was talking about how beautiful this chick was. So I watched it. I knew the chick, so I watched it. And then she called me about a week later. She was like, "Can you help me? I know you're a lawyer, Perry. Can you help me?" I said, well, "Help you with what?" She was telling me her story and she's in prison and blah, blah, blah. So while she's talking, I'm doing some research. I'm looking at it. I know her name. I Google it. I said, wait a minute. You stabbed a man 21 times in the throat. You in jail for murder. Well, let me explain. Explain what?
Perry, you thought she caught a shoplifting case or something? Like she was
I'm thinking, what, you got a speeding ticket? What you in jail for? You in jail for murder, baby. You got 20 years. You already been sentenced. What are you talking about?
Man, I would have sent her that Snoop song, bro. Murder was the case that they gave me. Here you go. Your theme music right here, baby. But but like Perry said, if they talking, they lying. Now, when you talk about that, well, before I get into that, I just want to close out on Lil Shorty. You sent me her picture. I saw her.
Right.
And old boy said she was a dime. He got her all up he posting up, fellas. But I would say a Medellin 4. On a scale of 0 to 10, I would say 4.
Now, she might have been a dime from whatever little city he from. But in Medellin, she was a 4. I'm like, come on, bro. But, hey, whatever floats your boat. And that's another thing that a lot of guys get caught up in. They go to Colombia and they getting drugged by girls who look like girls they see at home. And I'm like, why would you even pick this girl anyway? What was you looking at, And I had a friend of mine, he was a strange guy, but I told him, I said, look, don't do no threesomes. I said, you don't need some threesomes. I know it's your birthday. No, I'm going to do a threesome on my birthday, blah, blah, blah. I said, so he said, this girl going to bring a girl. I said, let me see if I got this right. A girl you don't know going to bring another girl you don't know. He said, yeah, well, it's gonna be all right. Well, he woke up the next day about 4 o'clock. I thought I was still in Cincinnati. Yeah, because you got drugged. They took all your stuff, but he was so stupid. When he went back the next time, he said, well, I think the one girl drugged me, but the other girl didn't. So I'm gonna see the other girl again. I said, oh, you deserve to be drugged. You're an idiot. But that's what happens.
Bro, I mean, you get drugged, and then I'm gonna go back and talk to the girls.
You big dummy. You a big dummy there.
Big dummy, man.
Right.
My man Scam Likely in the building, Perry. Scam Likely's good people. I met him in these YouTube trenches, like just in different platforms or whatever, be in the chat or whatever. We'll be on platform, be on panels. And one of us was talking, saying something. And he's like, bro, you live in Tampa? I'm like, yeah, I live in Tampa. And he's like, bro, you off of Hillsboro? I'm like, yeah. Dude lived right down the street from me. Like right around the corner. But he done moved, man. He's down in Costa Rica now. Yeah, he done made a move, went down to Costa Rica. So shout out to you, Scam. I'm gonna show everything. But yeah, I don't understand why you guys. I do understand why they do it. Again, because they're looking for a cheat code, and everyone's scale is different. There's no way on God's green earth that I'm gonna take a flight for hours on end, crossing an ocean or whatever, crossing a continent, get to a country, and then holler at a girl, like you said, that I can get in my city. Like,
Right.
what are we doing? What's I'd rather not even talk to no girls. I'd rather just go see the sights. Like,
It's crazy. I mean, the guys that go there, it's just amazing to me some of the things they do. You got to understand the game. Like the mayor came out and said, this was a couple years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, stay off of Tinder. Tinder in Colombia is not Tinder in America. Tinder in
Right.
Colombia is run by gangsters who put girls on there to set you up. So if the mayor tell you to stay off Tinder, then why are you on Tinder? Why are you on Tinder anyway in Colombia? You can find a 10 walking to McDonald's. So what are you doing on Tinder? Right. What are you doing on Tinder? That's the dumbest thing. Are you that bad? Did you go to a country where women looking to meet you and you still going to Tinder? You must be out of your mind. So I hear guys going on Tinder, getting set up. Oh, they drugged me from a Tinder. Well, you shouldn't have been on Tinder. I mean, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
In the first place, we got Dr. B in the building. What's good, fam? This brother's a doctor, medical doctor. Real cool cat. You know what I'm saying? We've picked it in Miami and Brooklyn, man. Real good people. He's always wanted to go to Colombia. I would go to Colombia, but brother, make sure you rewatch this video. So Perry, if you were talking to Dr. B right now, solid brother, professional, like MD, and he's saying, hey man, I want to go ahead and give Colombia a try. He has game, he knows how to talk to women. What would you tell him? Like where to go, where to stay, and what to be aware of?
First, you got to go to either a hotel or Airbnb that has security. And you want somebody that takes their ID when they come to your room. Because that's one thing that the girl's looking for is places that don't take your ID. They figure they can get out. If they do something wrong, they can get out. Nobody knows who they are. But usually when you go to a place like Energy Living or a hotel like San Fernando Plaza or one of those, they take their ID, they put it in their system, they let the girl go upstairs. They don't even let her leave until you walk out with her. So then they say, okay, everything's fine. That's the first thing. You got to protect yourself. Speaking of a doctor, there was a dentist from Columbus, Ohio. Black guy, young black guy. He met a girl on Tinder, one of those, something similar to Tinder. She told him, this is what we need to do. Let's go out here outside the country, get a little place in the country, which should have been red flag number one. You don't even know this girl. So you're not even going to the city. You're going to the suburbs. You ain't got no business outside Medellin. So he gets the place outside of Medellin, a little farm, they call it a finca, but it's a farmhouse. I think he lived 10 minutes after he got there. He was dead 10 minutes from the time he arrived. She left the door open. Somebody came in with a crowbar and cracked his skull open. Took everything he had, took all his money, took his cell phone, and they left. He was dead. He was a young black dentist in Columbus, Ohio. So he lasted about 10 minutes in Colombia. You got to understand what not to do so you can do what you're supposed to do. I mean, he made so many mistakes. He met a girl on the dating app. He went outside of Medellin. He went to a place he didn't know anybody. He had no protection to a girl he didn't know.
My goodness. And he lucky it was the actual real girl, because a lot of that be a catfish anyway. You know what I mean? You get down there, you know what I mean? You don't even get to see it. Look, Dr. B, he's like, whoa. Like, yeah, bro, it's real. You got to be careful down there.
You got to know what you're doing. It's like, it's like going to New York and say, I'm just going to go hang out in Harlem. Well, no, you may not want to go to certain cities, certain streets in Harlem. You might want to chill on that period, And there was another guy,
Right.
he was an Asian comedy guy, legit comedy. He went to Colombia, and the girl played the long game on him. She was with him about 8 months, so he was real secure. They were going out dancing every time he went. He was flying around. He was doing their thing. Young girl. The thing that was so tragic about that story, not only did they kill him, but the boyfriend that she had decided to kill him. That it was time. So they killed the guy that was paying her $3,000 or $4,000 a month. Killed him for $3,000 basically, but he was paying her every month, paying the boyfriend, paying his rent, and he didn't know that. So, but the boyfriend said it was time to go. He's 19-year-old kid, so now both of them are in jail for life for killing this Asian guy. It's just they stabbed him and threw him over the cliff. Just craziness.
That's crazy. Casual Germs in the building was having fam. He says, Tinder is entertaining to him. Like, it could be entertaining, but don't meet up with them people, bro. That's all we saying, man. Like, be careful, man. And here's the thing. So many guys, and tell me if you think I'm right or wrong on this. So many guys come from America. Maybe they come from somebody's hood in America, and they think because I'm from the hood, I could go to any country and I'm good. I'm going to be all right because I'm from the hood. And I tell dudes all the time, like, look, bro, there's some countries you can go into the hood. You can go to Medellin someplace, and it might look like you in Beverly Hills some damn where, but it is their straight up ghetto. Like, it looks beautiful, but it's lethal. And you walking around here, you ain't even got your guard up talking about, oh man, look at her. This is all cool down here. Next thing you know, somebody crowbar you to the back of the head.
Oh yeah. It's a totally different channel because I was telling this attorney, she goes over there sometimes and she buys watches for her clients. It's a different animal over there. It's like you never know. You gotta keep your head on the swivel. That's just how it works. It's a big city. People think that they go over there and think, well, I'm streetwise in America. You can't even speak the language half the time. You could be sitting there with a girl, she on the phone talking to another guy saying, hey, you're gonna go to this restaurant. When we finish the restaurant, bust him in the head. He got $1,000 in his pocket. I mean, you just never know. I mean, a cell phone over there is $1,000. Well, $1,000 is more than they probably make in 2.5 months. So they'll kill you for a cell phone. I mean, it's just the nature of the game. And people don't know that.
I remember you were telling me, like, boy, get your phone down. I'm like, what? We in a cab. We were just going to get some lunch. We had a really good lunch too, just somewhere. I don't even know where we were, somewhere in Medellin. And you're like, boy, get your phone down. I'm like, what you mean? Like, they will snatch that phone right out your hand. And I was
that's
like,
$1,000. $1,000 you holding out the window. You
You're like, here you go.
Sure will.
So and Mandrell, Mandrell's a former Green Beret. He's been on teams. He's done his thing. He's like, Brazil's the same way. You have experience in Brazil as well. We're not done with Colombia, guys. We're gonna come back to Colombia, but since Mandrell brought it up, what's your take on Brazil?
Brazil. I like Brazil. It was totally different than Colombia. The women were a little different. The atmosphere was a little different. But I went to Brazil. Well, you know Diana. I went to Brazil with Diana. So they hadn't seen nothing like her. So, it was like they got their women, but they hadn't seen this one, so it was a different ball game. But Brazil was nice. I had a nice time in Brazil, but it was just, I went right before the Olympics hit Brazil. The week before the Olympics, I was in Brazil that week. And the shocking part to me was how they treated blacks over there compared to how they were treating the other side of Brazil. Like at that time, they were spraying so that the termites, not the termites, but the insects don't mess with the Olympics. But they didn't spray the black side, so they just fostered all the bugs over there to the black. I said, y'all crazy over here. That's where you think they going, But it was a beautiful place. I like Brazil. It was
That's
beautiful.
dirty right there, bro.
Yeah, it was different.
That's dirty work. So, and then getting back to Colombia, man, like go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was saying, getting back to Colombia, when I first went down to Colombia with Perry, I knew it was, again, we're from the same neighborhood. Like, we're from Cincinnati, is not a really big town. And our neighborhood is, especially back in the 80s and into the 90s, I don't know about today, but it was one of the roughest cities on the planet. I mean, we call some of the neighborhoods, like in Cincinnati, Baby Beirut, because it was just so you like dealing with the Faye down in Moosewood, dealing with, you know what I mean? That's when Laurel Holmes was still there, like down there in the middle, all the way out to Lincoln Heights. It was so much drama for such a small place. So Perry and I, just because we grew up in that environment, our head is always on a swivel. I don't care where I am. If I'm making it into heaven, I'm gonna be looking around. I'm gonna be my back against the wall. I'm gonna be looking at people like, yeah, hey, St. Joseph, why you all up on me like this, homie? You know what I mean? It's just the way we're programmed. But back then, Colombia was bad, but it was nothing like it is today. You see this spike in the crime, and I think it's because these guys came over, just like Perry said, not knowing what they're doing, and you just big targets going down there in groups, doing little TikTok videos with all your pesos. It was a dude that had a TikTok, counting all the pesos, and then next thing you know, he did another TikTok the next day. Somebody knocked the door down, man, came and took all their money because he had to track him down. No security. You know what I mean? At your hotel, you just a target. But I don't want to scare anyone off. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to scare anyone off.
Right. I mean, I love Colombia. I've been going there for almost 20 years now, and I've never had any problems. Now, I've seen a lot of people have problems, but I've never had any problems in Colombia. My ex-wife she lives there now. We cool now, So it's a different animal, but people came over there for straight out of Dominican. This ain't the Dominican Republic. And they kept thinking it's like Dominican. And no, it ain't the Dominican Republic. You got a whole different ball game in the Dominican Republic. This could be life or death. It's like you got to understand what you're doing over there. And I think the problem was the people they saw so many Americans come over there not knowing what they're doing. They became easy targets. And that's what it was. They were just easy targets. They didn't care. They drinking. They letting girls. I had a guy. He let a girl fix his drink, and I said, "Are you nuts? You don't even know this girl." Yeah, well, she ain't gonna do nothing to me. Yes, she will. You don't know her, But they just got comfortable. They just started thinking, "Oh, it's okay. I'm just partying out. I'm doing all this." If you hear that little beat, that noise, I get my huskies acting a fool.
But he wants some attention. That's all. He know what you're doing. You're like, oh, you think you're gonna do a podcast and not talk to me?
He's acting a fool in here. But they just came over there, and they still over there, but they're just not as like they used to be. But they don't. A lot of them don't know they don't know where to go. They hear something on the YouTube, and they go there, and they think this is where I'm supposed to be. They don't know how to act when they get there. I used to watch them in flip flops, and they come in with the shorts on and the socks, and I'm like, where are you going, man? That's a dead giveaway right there, But they were doing that. And then they come over there acting a fool. Like there's a linebacker. I don't want you know who he is. I'm not gonna mention his name, but I saw him up in Gusto's. And he took out 14 girls. And he paid them 5 times more than they normally got. I'm like, what is you doing, man?
Wrecking the economy. That's what they're doing.
And that's what he was doing. I said, come on, man, you tripping, But I've seen Keith Sweat over there. Shador Sanders been over there. I've seen a bunch of them over there. Don't know what they were doing. He walking around. Shador Sanders is walking around with a big old bodyguard. Don't nobody know who you are.
Exactly.
Don't nobody care who you are over there. They got one agenda. Do you want me? And do you got some money? That's all they wanted. But he over there with bodyguards and running around with this and that, and it just got out of hand.
I mean, that don't make any sense. It's like, Shador, I'm sure you got some bread, man, but you over there with the cartels, man. There's a different kind of thing going on. So we've said all these things about the women. Let's shift gears a little bit. Let me ask you this. Is it possible to find yourself a good woman in Colombia? Let's say you're looking for a wife, you're looking for someone for a long-term relationship. You just, because every woman over there, they know how to be feminine and, they're fit. It's like the whole country is fit. I can't remember. I don't think I've ever seen a fat person in Medellin, now that I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, they unbelievably fit. It is possible, but if you're going over there once or twice a year, it ain't going to happen. I got a guy, he goes over there. He's been going there for 10 years. He's been seeing the same girl for 10 years. But he's only going once or twice a year. Yeah, that's my girlfriend. I said, let me explain something to you. You ever been to an apartment? No. You ever seen a son? No. You ever met a mama? No. You ever met a sister? No. That ain't your girlfriend, bro. You a customer. That's all. Now you think those other 50 weeks that she's sitting around waiting on you to come? He's like, what do you mean? I said, what do you think she's doing for the other 50 weeks? She got to eat, right? Yeah. She got a job? No. But in his mind, that's his girlfriend. So 10 years, he done. Well, I said, you really tripping, you know, but that's what he thought. That's my woman, man. Okay.
That's my girl. She ain't like the rest of them. I remember that it might have been the last time we were down there together, bro. One of them trips, we in Hooters. And it was a dude at the bar talking about his girlfriend, dude from Chicago, brother out of Chicago. Like, man, my girlfriend, man, she that, blah, blah, blah. And he's talking about her. He starts to describe her, then he shows me a picture of her. And he's going on, and I'm like, hold on. I pull out my phone. You know what I mean? I go through my what was it, that Latina something diamonds or whatever. It was one of them Latina websites or whatever. And I'm like, oh, here she is. Telling me to hit her up when I get to Medellin. I'm like, this your girl right here, huh? You know what I mean? He was like, oh, I'm like, bro, she in the game, especially in that area. I guess the question is, if you were to go outside of that area, you think you might be able to find yourself a good woman?
Oh yeah, you probably could. You could find one there, but your chances are you got to get out of the park. You got to get out of the. Because they got lawyers, but the lawyer. See, the problem is everybody there is underpaid. I've had cops, say, "Hey, what we doing later?" I was like, "Ain't you supposed to be a cop or something?" But they're trying to get their hustle on. I remember when I first went there, I met a lawyer, and I'm talking to her about law. And she looked at me after about 30 minutes. She said, let me explain something to you. My best month was $750. What we doing later? I said, oh, okay. So it's just one of those things. You got to understand who you're talking to, that the average doctor was making 15, 17,000 a year. And that's less than our McDonald's workers. So that's just the way it is over there. Everybody's on the hustle. Now you're gonna find some good people, but you got to understand the limitations on how far they're gonna be good with you, because you're gonna have to take care of them. You got to help them out with a bill. You're gonna have to do something over there
all the time. It's not like, just not when you show up. Yeah, it's when you at home.
When you at home, because if you ain't helping them, somebody else at. And then if you helping them, still somebody else might be helping them. Somebody else might be showing up. I'm trying to clean this story up. I had a friend one time, and she was hanging out with me, and her phone rang. So she jumps up, runs to the phone, and I can hear her talking in the bathroom. She's talking to some guy, and baby, 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 I love you, blah, blah, blah. So she comes back and she says, oh, that's my boyfriend in Arizona. It don't matter. Let's get back to what we doing. And I was like, what? And then she said, about 2 weeks later, she said, why don't you take me serious? I said, well, because I don't want to be the other guy on the other end of that phone call. Right. Lost your mind. I'll take you serious, Beautiful girl.
Bro, and that happened to me in Aruba. We had the one shorty, the one joint that was upstairs. You had your one friend from New York. I think we called her New York. I forget her name. She was fine. But it was like another joint. It was like a two-story thing, and she's like in the window pointing at me. You like, yo, man, she trying to holler at you. I'm like, for real? She came back to the telly. Same thing. She ain't going to the bathroom though. We doing what we doing. She just pull out the phone like, you know what I mean? She give me, like, hold on 1 second. Basically just slow down. I ain't even stop. She was just trying to tell me to slow down. And she on the phone like, hey, baby, and and I'm like, who was that? She was like, oh, he just takes care of me. He's just some old dude from Texas. And it's like, it just reprograms the mind, because you're doing this, and then people will say, well, that's Colombia, that's the Philippines, that's Brazil, that's Thailand, that's DR. I tell you, like, nah, bro, that happens right here in the good old US of A. That ain't the first time I dealt with something like that.
It happens all the time. I had a case, not to talk about America, but I had a case where a guy got married on a Friday. The next Friday, his wife said she had to go to Vegas for a job, but she took the wrong phone. So she took the office phone and left her personal phone at home. So when she got to Vegas, the personal phone was going off. It was a guy saying, hurry up, baby, I'm already in the room. Where you at? Where you at? And she's been married a week. It's just, it happens, all over. But there, it's normal for them. They think, hey, whatever. That's just somebody, he helping me out. So it ain't got nothing to do with you,
I mean, I've been on regular dates in Colombia. Little shorty that looked like Rihanna, them beautiful eyes, you
Oh, I
know,
remember
Perry hooked
her.
me
Yeah, I
up.
remember. Yeah, I
Perry
remember
hooked
her.
me up. She took me to the movies, man. Like, you know,
Yeah,
we
I
went to
remember
see
Rihanna.
yeah, it was cool. We had a good time, man. Like I tell folks all the time, these dudes, I say, look, y'all, you can't circumvent not having game, not having understanding. Because if you do, that's how you wind up like that doctor out of Ohio, get your head cracked
Right.
open, getting scoped. You know what I mean? You got
Mhm.
these girls just running your pockets, and you know, you come down there unannounced and you see her with 3 or 4 dudes, and you're like, oh my God, like, bro, that's just that's just the game. You would
That's the
remember
game.
that one girl, she worked at one of the spas. You were telling me how they had like a roster
Oh yeah,
or
you talking about we used to call her my ride or die. She was my ride or die. Because I remember I came there one time when the Beyonce concert was there, and she called me. She said, "What are you doing this weekend?" I said, "I'm in Medellin for the Beyonce concert." She was in Panama, and she said, "When does Beyonce come?" I said, "She should be here tomorrow." She said, "What hotel you in?" I told her the hotel I was in. 8 o'clock in the morning, they was calling me up. "You got a visitor down there." I said, "A visitor?" It's 8 in the morning. You know, she had caught a flight back from Panama to come hang out. She said she was a ride or die. You know, she's like, whatever I was doing in Panama ain't important. You here. And so yeah, but she worked at a spot with the roster you were talking about. And I went down there one time. She said, "What are you doing in here?" She said, "This is my job." I said, "Okay, it's your job." And then she had this list, and then it was like names on the list. Then it was like turn it over, more names on the list. Then it was upside down. More names. I said, "Lord, you in here working it up." And the funny thing was, she got a guy who said he was going to give her 5,000 a month. I said, "Marry him." She said, "What do you mean? I don't like him." She said, "I want to be with you." I said, "No, no, no. He gonna give you 5,000 a month. You got a kid. You got to look out for you." And she cried. And last thing I know, she married the guy and she went on about her business. So I told her, "You got to do what you got to do, baby, because I'm not taking care of you no $5,000 a month. I can tell you that."
Right. 5 grand a month in Medellin today. I mean, what kind of life is that? Is that
Oh
decent
yeah.
middle class?
Oh, at 5 grand a month, she upper class, because you can get a penthouse for about 1,100 a month. So she doing her thing. He's sending her 5 grand, and then they married, and so it is what it is.
Man,
So
so a
five
lot of
grand
these
is about 15. That's about 15 million their money. 15, 16 million a month. Yeah, she's doing her thing.
wow. So a lot of the guys who got in trouble, the passport bros who got in trouble. We've already covered the guys who were just putting everything on their TikTok and saying things they really shouldn't be saying, supposed to be in the dark. But there were guys down there that were actually hustling and making good money, like promoting. There was one dude who actually jumped on the stream. I was on a Black Man Travel, shout out to him. And brother went down there and saw an opportunity to make some bread. So he was like promoting in the
Hmm.
clubs, in the
Hmm.
park, and making like made a success of himself. He became the dude, and he was bringing in like American DJs, hip hop guys, or whatever, stars, celebrities, bringing them in there. Then this is one of the guys when they actually went into the club. He said they picked him up when he was in the club
Yeah, I
and
saw that.
removed him from the country.
Right.
So he was telling the story, and the whole time I'm listening to him, I'm thinking, I'm like, bro, first of all, you're not supposed to be working. So like
Hmm.
already off rip, like you already know, like you dancing on the line, and then you're promoting it. It's
Right.
like, bro, you're gonna make yourself a target. And he said that he was like, oh, it was all good when I was working with this group, but then when I went to the competitors and started making even more money, they got rid of me. I'm like, yeah, that's what they're gonna do.
That's what they're gonna do. Right. I mean, you
That's
got to.
business.
He just didn't know the rules. He got out there. There's a couple of black guys that are doing pretty well, but you got to know how to play the game. And then he was promoting some other things too, some other parties, some other things with chicks, and anything that's related like that, they don't want that. They don't want you
Mhm.
out here promoting what they're doing. They don't want you out here saying come to the park and come to Gusto's and come to New Life and Energy. They don't want you saying that. That's the problem. But these guys, they can't just go. They want to promote it and tell everybody. They can't just go for themselves and tell their friends. They want to tell the world. They want clicks. So they're watching you. They're watching your websites. They're watching your YouTube, your TikToks. They're watching all that. And so when they see it, they want to get rid of you. That's how it works.
When he was telling this story, I was just sitting there thinking, and maybe this is because I grew up in Avondale, in the area that we grew up. We just don't like the spotlight. It's so hard for me to adjust to doing the platform because I don't really, it's hard for me to put myself out there like that, you know, but it's like, all right, this is the business I'm in. If I'm in a country, I'm a foreigner, I'm not going to be the face of nothing. I mean, this is when you just, you know, like you said, you had your ride or die. You know, we had a couple people, I made some friends down there that I trusted. And if I can show them how to make money to be the front, they're going to be happy because they're getting bread. They can take care of their family. I'm getting money. With, you know, like I would definitely go in business with someone. So how would you do it? Like if you were sitting there, like, well, not how you would do it. How should someone move in that situation? Even if we can answer that, because I guess I don't want to teach people how to break the law. I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question.
I mean, it's a delicate situation down there. You got to, Colombia wants to be known for what it is, which is a beautiful place. They want to, they want to change that we're known for women. And the problem that Colombia had is their women are beautiful. And if the government really wanted to change it, why don't you try raising minimum wage so they can get a regular job? See, you can't say, I want to not be known for this, but I don't want to pay you no more than $2 an hour. Well, they're not gonna work for $2 an hour. That ain't gonna happen. So when you got a baby, who gonna take care of the baby? You got a mama, who gonna take care of the mama? Who gonna take care of your grandmama? Everybody looking to eat off of you. And they know you fine. I remember when I was in Costa Rica, they did an article in the paper that said our prettiest women in Costa Rica are prostitutes because that's the only people who are making real money. And it's the same way with Brazil. It's the same way with Colombia. It's the same way with Panama. Well, Panama's a little different, but they don't let their locals do it. But people come in from out of Panama to do it. You can be from Colombia. You can be from Costa Rica. You can be from Brazil. But if you're Panamanian, you're not supposed to be in that line of field. It's illegal for them to work that way, which is a whole nother strange thing. But that's what Panama.
That's crazy. That's crazy. We're just going to import our sex workers. But if you live here, you can't do it.
You can't do it because they feel that they got enough jobs and enough money that they don't have to do that. But if somebody else want to come in and do it, you can do it. That's how Panama rolls.
Man, but that's wild.
It's a different ball. And then the reason I went to Colombia, because everywhere I went, the prettiest women were Colombian. So I said, let me go see what Colombia's like. I mean, when I went to Panama, the prettiest girls there were Colombian. When I went to Costa Rica, the prettiest girls there were Colombians. When I went to Aruba, the prettiest girls there were Colombians. So I said, maybe I need to go to Colombia, you know.
Let's check the source real quick. And then we, you know, talk to Colombia women and they say the prettiest women in Colombia are in Medellin.
Right, that's true. That's where they are. It's like their version of Miami or LA. That's where everybody in Colombia wants to run to. It's the place to be. Medellin is their place to be.
Man, back in the day, back in the late 90s into the early 2000s, bro, LA was fire, y'all. Not gonna lie to you. LA was fire. That's when Hollywood reigned supreme. You know, like the cool kids ran that town. And man, when I tell you, you would see some stunners. You know, that's when the Playboy Mansion was popping. That's when Sunset was, I mean, man, Dublin's. Melrose. I mean, you go to Fox Hills. They'll be like, I want to talk to some sisters. Go to Fox Hills. They down there. It's not the same right now. It's not the same. Right? And then Brother B, Dr. B's like, he hasn't been, you know, 2017, 18. Like, you ain't missing nothing, bro. You ain't missing nothing. Like, LA is definitely not the same. And when Perry comes back, I think he probably got a phone call, but there you go. He's back. Like LA is trash right now. And I remember the first time going down to Miami. Me and Perry went down to Miami. And man, he met this one chick. Hey, what was the name of the girl when y'all got caught in the rain? And that's when I'm like, Perry in trouble.
Oh yeah. You talking about Angelica. Alexandria. Alexandria. She was from Colombia. She was a Colombian. Yeah. Oh, I remember Alexandria. Yes, Lord.
And we in Miami. Yo, man, we in Miami, and it was wild back then. I mean, me and Perry, I don't know if it was on that trip, but one of our trips to Miami, me and him was on our way going to one of the gentleman clubs. We was on Collins, I think, you know what I mean? And this is his car with this little, you know what I'm saying, little snow bunny in there.
When I lost you for the weekend, you told that time?
Yeah, when you lost me. Yeah, lost me just for the rest of that night. I mean, we was good to go the next morning.
Right.
But man, look, little shorty was like, hey, she hollering at me. So it was there was a snow bunny in there who was nice. And then she had her chubby friend, and then it was like a gay dude, like a black dude driving. So it's just three of these, and then we walking, me and P walking, same thing. You know what I mean? He look up, I'm gone. He turn around, look back, and he see me getting into the car. He like, boy, what you doing now? Hey, man, I'm going to holler at you, man. He's like, boy, you going to get killed. Like, I think I'm all right. I could have beat dude up. I wasn't worried about that. And but here's the thing. Like, when I looked at her, I said, damn, girl, what's happening? She's like, what's up with you? I'm like, well, what you getting into later tonight? And she said to me, if I'm lucky, you. I was like, all right, P. I didn't hear. And she was lucky. Let's put it that way. She got lucky.
Yeah, it's
You know what I'm
crazy.
saying?
A friend of mine had something happen to him like that about a month ago. He was in Aruba, and he had asked me, Perry, where do you go for Aruba? Blah blah blah. So I'm telling him about Aruba. So he goes to Aruba with a Colombian girl. So they're in the drive-through about 3 o'clock in McDonald's, and two girls come up to the car and say, "Look, we want to get something from McDonald's, but they say we got to get in the car to do it. Can we get in your car?" So he was like, "Huh?" So he let them get in the car. They ordered food. Uh, 12 hours later, he had to drop them back off. You know? He was like, I was like, what?
He was down there with his girl.
Yeah, the girl said, bring them on. So they
Hey,
did, yeah, they did their thing, I guess.
that's a Don DeMarco right there.
Yeah,
That's a Don
Down
DeMarco
the
right there.
Marco.
See, when you got game, understanding, and you can kind of, because here's the thing. In Aruba, I probably do it. I probably let them in the car in Aruba, but I'm not doing that damn near anywhere else. I
right.
don't think I'm doing that anywhere else. You know,
Mhm.
if I'm in America, all right, I'll let you get in the car because I'm always strapped. So I'm like, well, if it goes sideways, a lot of people gonna get hurt. It's probably not gonna be me. So maybe. But you know how fine it would have to be for me to let them get in my car so I could take them through the drive-through?
God no. He said they were fine. That's what he
Mm,
told me. I said, I don't know. I wasn't there on that trip, so I don't know nothing about it.
man, but I like Miami was just I remember when the first time I went to Miami, I couldn't believe how beautiful the women in Miami are. And like everyone's going to Miami now, but like Miami's like sick with it. Brickell, South Beach,
Mhm.
like the real estate prices in Brickell are getting out of control, but the rest of the Miami in the general Miami area, especially Dade County and Broward County, the housing prices are coming down, especially for condos. So I
Mhm.
kind of got my eye on that. But we've been talking for a little over an hour now, Perry. Did we cover everything? We talked about the passport bros getting kicked out. Oh, let's talk about this. How much longer you think Colombia is going to keep their foot on the neck of the passport bros? Is this thing going to pass, or is this something they're going to be doing, you believe, indefinitely?
Well, I think they're probably going to do it as long as this new president is president,
Oh, yeah.
because that's his platform. His platform is they want to change park They want to put a mall in the park. They want it to be a totally different look. Uh, but it's not gonna really change the city, because if you already go to Medellin, you already know people. So the same people are gonna be doing whatever they're gonna be doing, but you're just gonna have to change the way people react and what they do. Now, if you're new to Medellin and you don't know anybody, well, you might be shit out of luck for a while. But the park is the park. I don't really care if they take the park away or not. It doesn't affect me one way or another. I know 4 or 5 thousand people in Medellin. I don't really care one way or another what they do with the park. But if you ain't never been to Medellin, it's a whole different ball game, because you all you hear about is the park and go to the park and do this and do that. Well, if there ain't no park, then what are you gonna do? Well, there's 1,000 other things to do, but you just don't know them. I mean, there's like in Larelas is La 70. La 70 is just like the park, but people don't know it because they only hear about the park. But it's the same thing. They ain't said nothing about Larelas, so a lot of people just go to Larelas now and just hang out. So and I don't think they're gonna, every 5 or 6 months, they try to do something different with the park, to let cars go through that runs people off the streets. Now they got police there telling the girls, just keep moving. You can talk to the guy, but he got to walk with you. I mean, it's always something. But they just trying to figure out what they're gonna do. And they can't stop it. It's legal. They really can't stop it, but they're gonna make it harder for the guys to get there, because one, ain't no spirit anymore. That's the first problem. So that $300 flight now is $1,100, $1,200, depends on where you are in America. So, and then hotels, hotels are going up. So they gonna do makes it harder to get there. Then you got to make a choice. Do I want to spend $1,500 in hotels and flight, or do I want to go somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, probably go somewhere else. Huh? Probably be looking at the Philippines, Thailand. Everybody's talking about Vietnam. Scam likely wants to know: have you been to Cartagena, Cali, and what's this other one, Barranquilla?
Barranquilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to Cartagena probably 15, 20 times. That was a vacation spot. Me and Diana, me and Andrea would go to Cartagena and just kind of hang out. I mean, Cartagena's cool, the clock tower, all that. I know about all the Cartagena spots, but it's cool. It's interesting because it's actually probably a little more dangerous than Medellin, but people don't know it yet. But it's Cartagena ain't no joke. They will rob you. If you don't know what you're doing, I had to tell you a story about Cartagena. I had an older guy named Moses, and we were all in club. I think it was Club Delirium, and we were all leaving. He said, Moses, let's go. And Moses, no, I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna stay here. I was like, Moses, we all leaving. You need to go. No, 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 I'm good. You go ahead on. So I said, okay. So he comes back to the room. I said, what happened, Moses? I'm ready to go, man. I'm ready to get out of Cartagena. I said, well, what happened? He said, man, y'all left. And the group of guys said, oh, all your friends gone. You by yourself now, right? So they started coming at me. He said, I had to run and get to a taxi. I said, Mo, you too old to be trying to run. He said, I thought so too, but I was out of there. They were gonna do him in. But I said, Mo, when we tell you to go, it's time to go. You too old to be sitting there trying to act like you by yourself. You can handle yourself. But
So, and that's something we didn't touch on. How important is it to, first of all, if you're a solo traveler, know what you're doing, and
right.
secondly, if you are with your group, even though you the man, you a shot caller, you a baller, you a OG, but when you're in countries like this, you need to stay with your support. You need to stay with your group, right? Or should you
Stay with your
be
group. You gotta
splitting
know
them?
what
Stay with your group.
right. Don't be splitting off doing what because you don't know. You just never know. Like I had a friend of mine, she lives in Cali. She sent me a video yesterday. I should have sent it to you. That she was riding a scooter and she going in the house. Two guys, did I send you that video? Two guys came out
Mm-mm.
with a machete and tried to take her scooter. I mean, actually hit her 3 or 4 times with a machete. And for some reason it didn't cut her. And then she turned around and basically beat them up and took her bike back. And I was like, Lord have mercy, it's rough in Cali.
Damn,
I mean,
how fine
I
is she?
just
Like she Wonder Woman?
oh, she fine though, but she bodied up, but she fought him off, took her little scooter back and went on upstairs. But and I've been to Cali, I've been to Bogota, I've been to mainly just about everywhere I wanted to go over there. So I'm familiar with all of them. All of them got a different vibe. Cartagena is hot. It's Africa hot in Cartagena. I mean,
Damn.
it's ridiculously hot over there. Medellin is 75 degrees most of the time. So you kind of can chill over there, but you can't chill in Cartagena. It's hot. You walk to the store, you come back, you got to change clothes.
Damn,
So yeah,
sweaty like that's Florida hot.
yeah, it's hot. Oh, Florida's a breeze compared to Cartagena. Cartagena and
Damn, for
Panama.
real?
Cartagena and Panama are two of the hottest places I've ever seen.
Damn, bro. And Scale makes a good point. The more Spanish you know, the less they try you. However, street smarts comes first. I agree with him there. Even with technology, everyone has their translating apps and all that. But the
Mhm.
more Spanish you speak, the better. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I understand more Spanish than I actually speak. But if someone's scheming on me, I can hear it and I can move on. But if you
Mhm.
don't speak the language at all, you put yourself in it.
Oh yeah. You got to understand the language is an important key, especially if guys be trying to do threesomes. Because then you got two girls talking to each other and you don't know what they're saying. That's a whole different ball game. You don't know what she's saying, what she's plotting, and if she's on a cell phone, you don't know who she's talking to. They had one white guy. He went over there, met a girl. She was walking a dog, so he thought he had. And she spoke English. He thought he had really, came up on something. She walking a dog. She not in the game. Blah blah blah. And she said, "Let's take a Uber. I want to take a Uber back or a taxi back, one or the other, to my house, and then I can change clothes, and then we go to dinner." So she took the Uber back. He opened the door. It was three guys sitting there waiting on it. They shot him about 3 times. He was lucky to get out of
Ooh.
there.
Ooh.
So you just
Ooh,
never know. I mean, he just thought he came in. This was 12 o'clock during the day. This wasn't like at night. This was a daytime thing. So, and then they got all kind of little scams. My boy got hit, and he's been going almost as long as I have. And he's a vet. The taxi drivers that knock you off. He gave us, the taxi driver said, I don't know how to get to Energy Living now. It's only 2 or 3 major buildings over there that everybody knows. Everybody knows Energy Living. Every taxi driver. So the taxi driver said, I don't know how to get from the park to Energy Living. Well, it's 5 minutes away. So he said, let me see your phone and I can pull it up and I can use, the little map to get there. So he took his phone and he's put in Energy Living. But what he did was he transferred his case to his phone and took his case and put it on his phone. So when he got out, he gave him the case back to his phone, but he had stole his phone at this time. So my guy goes into the hotel. He says, "Wait a minute, this ain't my phone." So he got his phone, transferred about $5,000 out of his account, was sending himself money all night long. So everybody can get you now. It's hustles all over the place.
that is wild. Like the woman walking the dog in the middle of the day and she find that play would
Mhm.
have gotten that play would have got me, P. I ain't gonna lie. That play would have
Oh,
got
and
me.
she was fine. Yeah, beautiful girl. It's on YouTube. He tells the whole story. Beautiful girl. She got him. I
That
mean,
play
and
would have
he
got me.
and the only thing to say to him, he said he was kind of a trained fighter. So, he took those hits, those bullets. I said, "Boy, you lucky, bro." And he's showing himself all bloodied up on there and everything. But yeah, they
Damn.
got him.
Scam wants to know that they still have the fake taxis and the fake Ubers over there. Probably so.
Yeah, they do. They do. I think one of them tried to get me one time. It's funny because I was crossing the street and I was looking for a taxi. And he was like, lawyer, lawyer. And I heard him say that. And I was like, how you know I'm a lawyer? He's like, lawyer, lawyer. And I backed up. I backed on. I said, no, I'm going to go this way for a taxi, bro. I don't know how you know me, but you keep moving. So, yeah, they know who you are. They watch you.
That's crazy. And I would definitely say that it has changed since the passport bros have come into the picture because it's always been bad, but it wasn't as bad those first
Right.
few times, the early 2000s. I can remember one night I was waiting for y'all to come into town. I got in the day early because a lot of times coming from LA, I would get there before y'all. I would come in like
Mhm.
on a Thursday or something like that. Or if y'all got there Thursday, I get there Wednesday or whatever. So I'm in there, I'm staying at Hotel Diaz and I'm walking
Mhm.
up the hill, and it's late, bro, and I'm lit. And every corner there was a police officer, and I'm walking up the hill, and then I realized I'm like, oh wait, I'm in a foreign country and I'm tipsy. Let me
Mhm.
sharpen myself up. I started looking around, and the police were just watching me. Hola, you know what I mean? Buenas noches,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh hola, and it was like every block. But to your point, I believe that they were watching me because they didn't want anything to happen to me because again, they were protecting tourists back then.
Right.
And they
Right.
just kind of kept their eye on me until I got all the way to my hotel. It was like every block there was a cop.
And I think another thing that happened, we've kind of ruined their economy. People thought that coming over there, we were helping their economy, but actually, technically, we kind of hurt their economy because now Colombians can't afford to live where they could be living before, since rents done
Right.
went way up. They can't afford $1,000 apartment. They can't afford a $900 apartment. Well, that apartment back in the day was $400. When I first, well, you remember Andrea? She stayed in the one place, the one
Yeah.
you came. When me and Andrea had an apartment. Uh, we were paying $330 for a 3 bedroom.
Oh
Now that
wow.
same 3 bedroom was $1,800 because Americans then came over there and they putting their money in. They'll pay it now because I was paying gringo. I mean Colombian rates because she went in and got the apartment. I was like $330 for a 3 bedroom, swimming pool, tennis courts, and yeah, I could stay here. Because I was
Yeah,
spending that on hotels when I came.
exactly. Exactly. I
So.
remember that joint. And
Mhm.
scam said here's another funny scam. Like a girl steals your passport, she gives it to her friend. The friend, he or she sells it back to you the next day
Oh
saying they
yeah.
found it.
Oh yeah. They want. Yeah, that's a scam too. I mean, but they do it all. I mean, they steal They'll steal anything. They'll steal out the mini bar. They. I mean, I've had guys tell me, man, the girl raided my mini bar. Well, okay? Where were you at? What was you thinking?
And how did she get to that mini bar? And again, early 2000s, it wasn't like this, fellas. And I
Nah, what
said
like
this,
it?
I made that call. I'm like, the passport bros they're gonna mess it up. And what they're gonna do is they're going to create an environment that they can't afford. And look at where we are right now.
Right. Because and they drove the prices up. They drove everything up. They didn't care, and a lot of it was, I think, when Miami started coming over there like crazy, because a lot of clubs was just advertising in Miami. So Miami started coming first, and then Gusto's was advertising just for Miami people, and then the girls in Gusto's went from basically $50 to $250. I was like, wait a minute, you was $50 a month ago. Now you $250. What are you talking about? But that's because Gusto's and they had put them in there, and everybody in Miami kept running. I said, why y'all keep running to Gusto? But they advertising that's what we supposed to be in Gusto. I go, you crazy? But they were running the Gustos.
It's like,
And so
yeah.
that's just how it worked. Throw the prices up and messed up the economy.
And the number one thing, like Perry's story right there, here's where it really went wrong. The passport bros took it off the Colombian peso and put it on USD. So it used to be like you were 150,000 pesos. Now you $300. It's massive.
Oh, that's a massive jump. Then the dollar went down. That was the other problem. But when this president got in there, he killed all that. Before he got there, I think the dollar was like 4.5 to 4.5 thousand to one. He's down to 3,100. That's a big jump.
See, and I didn't even think about the economy as a whole, because again, early 2000s, they protected their tourism, they protected their tourists, all the gringos. But now I can see that does make sense. Yeah, the government does need to get rid of you, because it's like, we got to calm this down, because no one can afford to live in America, but somehow America's figuring it out. But someplace like Colombia, man, if the cost of living goes up 45%, that's it. The whole population is living outside.
That's right. And see, that's what's going on. Like Larelas, Poblado, they can't afford that. I mean, you got to be almost super rich over there by their standards to even afford to live where they'd been living. So I remember the first time when we were standing, we had that place, and Andrea came, and when you were there, and she was like, "Oh my God, how much is this place? I want to live over here." I said, "I don't think you can afford this." Okay, but then she got her own spa now, so she got a whole kind of business. She doing her thing.
Whoa, I didn't know that. What?
Oh yeah, she doing her thing. Yeah, she got a spa, one of the biggest spas in Medellin now. Yeah, yeah, Andrea Cooper. Andrea Cooper spa.
She's doing her thing.
She's doing her thing. She's doing her thing. So I ain't mad at her. I'm proud of her.
Damn. But yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, they're gonna have to regulate what's going on, because again, early 2000s, the women in Colombia had no idea what the conversion rate was for Colombian pesos to USD. No idea.
No, they really doesn't see much of us. We wasn't even coming over there, So we were kind of the pioneers for it, but now it's out of control.
It almost. I mean, again, this is what the passport bros did. They created, like what Scam called them, the trash port bros. But they created an economy that they can't even afford without really understanding what they did. And then they sit around and complain about it, like, oh, the company hating on us because we this and we that, we're American, we're black, we're whatever. It's like, no, you're destroying their way of life, and they can't have you down here. And then, like you said, now it makes me think, like, was there some sort of coordination to shut down the cheap airlines? Like, what I mean? It just makes me think, like, well, was that a plan? And then, of course, our economy right now is crazy. I mean, like, it's ain't nobody working really. People done got dozed. Like that. No one knows what's gonna happen with the housing market. No one's gonna sell if you got a house for 3%. But if you gotta move, you're taking a bath, right? If you gotta move, or if you get rid of your 3% loan or sub 3% loan and gotta move to the other side of the country, you won't even be able to afford to really get another house, because you're gonna be looking at what, 7%?
Oh, it's
crazy. Yeah, ain't nobody got the extra cash. Everybody ain't PD. You know what I mean? Everybody didn't build up your empire. They can't do it like you. But
well, I'm just trying to live out here, trying to live. But the other thing that's funny, they're stopping a lot of them immigration when they come in, because I did a guy the other day. They stopped him and they showed what he had in the suitcase. Well, he had about 50 rubbers. 50 rubbers, 2 or 3 bottles of lube. I mean, where you going, bro? Do you think they ain't gonna stop you? I mean, it's just amazing some of the things they pack. You know, say, okay, you don't think they got condoms here? You know, where you going? You know,
That's what I don't understand. It's like, bro, you going down here. Clearly, that guy's going down here
right?
to rent some women. The women he's
Hmm.
gonna rent, they bring their own condoms. They bring
Right.
their own lube. So like, why are you bringing that stuff with you? And then they're like, oh, they bringing their Viagra, they bringing their Cialis. Like, bro, you can buy that down there.
Yeah, you don't need a prescription for nothing down there. You can buy penicillin. You don't need a prescription for anything. So, but they don't understand that because they just traveling. They just going. You know, I saw it on the internet. I'm going to Colombia.
Like going to Colombia, and it's like, and again, don't know how to move, not talking to anybody, not doing any research whatsoever.
Right.
I mean, it is what it is. I'm not gonna lie. My plan was to actually I was gonna move to Colombia. Like, okay, when my daughter's done with school and all that, I was gonna move to Colombia. But after this passport bro thing, I was like, I can't go to Colombia. They never wrecked it, And I was like, well, now I'm looking at Peru. I'm looking at Uruguay. You asked me about Vietnam. Did you look into that?
Yeah, I looked into Vietnam. I'm going to go to Thailand in a couple months, and I may go to Vietnam and take a look at that. Because one of my best friends, he's got some property in Vietnam. He's building his retirement home there. Then my other partner moved to Panama. So I'm going to do something in the next couple of years.
I'll be right there with you, bro. If I ain't with you, I'll be close. Like I said,
I'm
I
going to do
like
something.
Peru. I want to go to Peru. I want to check out Lima. I hear good things.
Hmm.
But the passport bros kind of infiltrated a little bit there, but I'm not hearing crazy stories because it's not Colombia,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, it's not Colombia, and they ran to Medellin without knowing what they were doing, and they just messed it up. That's it. Everybody saw it coming. We all saw it coming. It's just a matter of time.
So we'll wrap this up, man. I appreciate because I mean, I'm like, bro, this is already an hour and a half. It kind of flew by. So what advice would you give to a non-passport bro, or call him the new wave passport bro? Like, you got a young guy, he's doing well, got his passport, and he really just wants to see the world. He wants to go to Colombia, he wants to go to Curacao, DR, Aruba, you
Mhm.
name it, Brazil. What advice would you give him on traveling to these countries in today's environment?
You got to understand the country. You got to understand the culture. You got to understand the do's and don'ts before you start going to places like that. I mean, Colombia is a great place to go if you know what you're not supposed to do and know where you're supposed to go. I mean, and how to act. And don't try to stand out. Don't go in, trying to be flashy because nobody in Colombia cares about a suit. I ain't never wore anything but a regular shirt and jeans in Colombia. I ain't never even dressed up in Colombia. So nobody cares about that. They just want you to be a good person, to be respectful, and don't be loud, and just have a great time. That's really all it is. If they do that, they'll be fine. But if you go in there trying to be the life of the party and loud and taking video, and I'm gonna sneak and take a video so I can show my friends and blah blah blah, you're looking for trouble. That ain't what
Mm.
it's about. Colombia is you got to know how to move, just like any other city. You don't go to LA acting a fool. You don't go to New York acting a fool. Just do what you're supposed to do and you'll be fine. It's a beautiful country. See the country. You're going to meet, no matter where you go in Colombia, you're going to meet somebody beautiful. So you ain't got to go chase them. They're going to be right in your face no matter where you go. And you'll meet somebody and it'll be fine. But just understand the game and understand how they move. Because if you don't know how she moves and you think she's going to move like she's from Cincinnati or New York or LA, you're absolutely wrong. You lost already because they're not from Cincinnati, New York, or LA. They're from Colombia and they're going to move like Colombians move. So you got to understand how Colombians move. They'll love you for about an hour. you know,
Hour
then they're going
45
to
minutes.
hour and 45 minutes, because they don't know
So
you.
they don't know you. And is it so, Perry? Is it necessary that they see you as a paycheck, or like you said before, it's really just you got to live?
They got to live. I mean, it's about, you got to understand, they've got to live, and some of them will just say, hey, I like you. Like when I first met Andrea, we never had any discussions like that. I knew where she was because she had her own money. She had her own little business, little modeling business. She was doing her thing. And she called me. I didn't know who she was. She hit me up on Instagram. Hey, I heard you broke up with so and so. What you up to today? Like, who? Who is this? And I looked at her picture. I said, I ain't up to nothing. What you up to?
You say
Whatever I
holla,
was
holla,
up to,
holla.
whatever I was up to just got canceled. Yeah, I ain't
Hey y'all,
stupid.
she absolutely is a stunner. I mean, the first time I
Oh,
saw her, man, y'all was in a car pulled up to pick us up to go somewhere, and she's in the back seat, just kind of sitting there. And I don't be checking out my people's people. You feel me? I ain't that type of dude. But he told me, he's like, hey man, I need to warn you. Like, bro, I'm here to tell you, she a real 10. And I'm like, all right, P, all your women are 10s. You're like, no, man, you understand. She's a 10. When that car pulled up, I was like, Lord, have mercy. She is a 10. I'm sitting there trying not to look. I'm looking straight ahead, trying to get the blinders on.
Oh, man, it's so funny. It's funny you said it because a guy told me one time, he said, man, we went to breakfast and we all met before you got here with Andrea. We decided we couldn't even look at it because they kept looking down. I was like, what are y'all doing?
Fine as hell, bro. And then she got out the car. I was like, oh, hell no, bro.
I've been all over the world. She's legitimately one of the top 10 beautiful people in the world. She ain't no joke,
I could co-sign that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but she didn't have no real upgrades. Maybe her breasts, but I thought everything else was normal.
She didn't have anything when you met her. She got breasts later on.
Okay.
Which would piss me off, but that was a whole nother subject. But she's still a monster,
I don't know why women do that. Like y'all perfect, and all of a sudden y'all go get a BBL or a breast job. Like, why did you do that?
She wasn't no joke.
Like putting whiskers on a Mona Lisa. Like, what are you doing?
Right. It wasn't no joke.
So, and then this kind of, you already answered the question for me, but what Perry was talking about kind of shows you that you can just befriend women. So many dudes think, well, you go down there, it's all transactional, all these women, they all in the game. Perry, are they all in the game?
No, they're not all in the game, but you got to understand that even the ones that ain't in the game might need help because they still got a mama and a grandmama, but they ain't really and she wasn't in the game. But she, I ever tell you how we broke up?
You told me about other shorty with the video.
No, we broke up. We were in Aruba at a restaurant called the Screaming Eagle. And you got to understand, the Screaming Eagle was just like Bed. You remember Bed in Miami? Where the restaurant had beds? It was the same concept. So we laying in the bed in Aruba at the restaurant. And she said, I want to take all our furniture, because we had an apartment together. I'm going to give it to my mother. So I need you to give me a blank check. So I said, no, pass the potatoes. That ain't going to happen. So that led to 3 days of fighting,
Damn. Here we go. We got you.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Oh, Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yep, we got you. Perfect.
Okay, so that led to 3 days of fighting. I mean, just, you don't understand who I am. You know how fine I am. I said, you fine enough, but you ain't getting no blank check. I can tell you that right now, And she got on the plane.
People are calling Perry, y'all. That's what it is. People calling. They probably done seen him. Like, I see you on YouTube. Like, man, quit calling me. Yeah, I can hear you. But I was like, people probably calling Perry right now.
She got on the plane, and I never heard from her again. And that was it.
Because I know y'all had some drama to do with some big event she was doing. I remember hearing about that. But I don't know. But this is the first time you told me about the.
Yeah, she wanted that blank check. I said, baby, I ain't giving nobody in this world a blank check. You done lost your mind.
You should tell her again, you give me a blank check.
Right. Yeah, and then called back 3 years later. Oh, yeah, I was thinking about that. What, you think we should get back together? I said, you still ain't get no blank check. So she blocked me again.
Hey, persistent.
She was persistent about that blank check. I said, you ain't get no blank check, baby. So that was the end of that.
Man, that was crazy. And you're right about all women aren't necessarily in the game, but they understand the game. Again, one of those trips, I got there early waiting on y'all to show up. And I'm down, just kind of walking around in the park area. I wasn't at Hooters, but I was on that side, that little back street by Hooters, and one of them little bars back there. Pax, I see this one fine little something, man. She was fine. Like, like face-wise, she was probably like a 6'7" body, but she was bodied up. Of course, we're in Medellin.
Right.
And it's her girlfriend, and her girlfriend's dude. So I walk up, using my little broken Spanish, which it's bad now, but it was horrible then. And she's speaking in English. She's like, hey, I speak English. Oh, okay, cool. I'm like, hey, let me get you guys a round of drinks or whatever. And she's like, you don't have to do that. I'm like, oh, I just, just want to talk to you. She's like, yeah, we could talk. And she broke it down to me. She said, look, I don't do this, but It was time to pay the rent, bro. She didn't have the bread.
Right.
It was time to
That's a
pay the
life.
rent.
It's a life or death.
It was life or death. You know, she's like, I got a job. She showed me her ID from work. I mean, she's like breaking it all down. I'm like, okay, what are you talking about? She's like, look, where's your hotel? I'm like, I'm at Hotel D. And she's like, look, she went and talked to her friends. They was like, you know, adios. I mean, and she's like, come on, let's go. She took me to a couple other clubs or whatever, you know. She came back to the crib. She didn't understand the conversion rate because I was out of pesos. It was the middle of the night. I went through all my pesos, buying drinks or whatever, dinner and all that. So I only had USD on me, and she had to check with the people at the desk, like conversion. They was like, no, that's real. And bro, I was lit, had a good time. Perry, my safe is open. You know what I mean? We was doing our thing, we was talking, you know, blah, blah, blah. Man, when I say, bro, she wore me out, man. Like, oh my goodness, put me to sleep like I was an infant. And Perry, when I woke up, daylight, bright, you know what I'm saying? Like y'all about an hour out. I think you had just landed. That's what woke me up. I think you called me or texted me or something. That's what woke me up. I'm looking around, man, like, oh my goodness, the safe open, man. I had about 3,000, maybe 3,500 US in there. Had my passport in there. You know what I mean? Like my couple little chains. I don't wear big gaudy jewelry, but you know, I had some stuff in there. And I look around the room, I just started laughing, like, oh, looks like she got over. You know what I'm saying? And bro, she didn't take nothing. It was a little note for me on the desk. And she was like, I had a really good time. Here's my number. I would like to see you again.
Oh, they got some great people there, but they got some interesting people that will get you. They got some people that will chop your throat off, but you got to know what you're doing.
For real, for real. Salute NYC. I see you, fam. How you doing? Welcome. We're about to wrap this up, man, but I'm glad you're here. Hopefully you can check us out in Team Replay. And in the chat, guys, let me know if you guys have been to Colombia. You know, throw your city in there. Where'd you go? You know what I'm saying? Where you been? If matter of fact, expand it to the whole world. Where you been? You know what I'm saying? Throw it in the chat. So Perry, man, I appreciate you, brother. I know you gotta, you know, wind down. You got shit going on, man. Look, he's walking around the mansion, y'all. You know what I mean? The guards are behind the pillars. You ain't gonna see the guards.
No, I gotta get some charge in this phone or we're gonna lose the connection.
Oh, we gonna lose the connection? Well, I mean, shit, we can wrap it up. I appreciate if y'all want to see a part 2 out there in the chat. If y'all watching, you want to see a part 2, you watch this on 10 Replay. Let me know. I'll let Perry know, and I'm pretty sure we can make something happen for you guys, man. We could talk about whatever you want to talk about. Thinking about being a lawyer, Perry's the man to talk to. Built his own firm from the ground up. You know, you want to talk about, next time we talk, Perry, you know, last time we talked, you was talking about divorce. And the one thing you told me, bro, and I share it with everybody who listens, I said, my man, Perry Davis said, women plan, men react. Is this still the same, bro?
Oh my God, is it still the same? But let me tell you a funny story today. Speaking of divorce, I got a client that I just finished his divorce. His wife had planned on getting him. I mean, she had got him for about 30 years. She was getting him good. She was working at GE, making a lot of money, but she told him she wasn't making any money. So she was driving the hoopty every day. She would park her hoopty at her girlfriend's house, get in her Benz and go to work. Then drive her Benz back to her girlfriend's house, get a hoopty, go home. She had him working on the house like a Hebrew slave. All these years, he doing labor and putting new roofs on the house. She wasn't calling nobody, just pocketing money. So her nephew came over one day, and this is how the divorce started. Her nephew came over one day, and he was going through a safe. He knew where the safe was behind a picture. So her husband came home early, and he was like, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm getting 10,000 out of the safe. My aunt told me to come get some money." He said, "What safe?" Well, she had 250,000 hidden in the safe.
Cash.
So cash.
Damn.
So she finds out that my client now knows where the money is. So she started opening up 19, 20 different bank accounts, putting a little here, a little there, a little here, there. So he files for divorce. Well, he got 250,000 in cash. He got $298,000 out of one pension plan, another $200,000 out of another plan, and $2,500 a month for life. I said,
So he's well into the M's on that divorce. He
oh
got
yeah,
millions out of that.
he made a killing. And then she got to pay him $2,500 every month for spousal support. And he said, yeah, I did all right. I said, I know, because you wanted to take the first 250 she offered. I said, no, if she offering 250, that means it's about 500,000 more out here we got to get to. So yeah, he's happy as he can be. Matter of fact, tomorrow she's supposed to pay him 80,000, a lump sum of 80,000 tomorrow.
Damn.
So yeah,
She was killing. Y'all don't understand how much money that is in the Cincinnati area.
she's
Like,
yeah. Oh, she was killing it. She was
she the
killing
queen
him.
pen. My
Yeah.
goodness. How old is she?
She's not retired yet, so she's probably late 50s.
Late 50s. Oof.
Yeah, she was, because she can't retire yet. Well, she may not be able to retire ever after what we did to her, but
She did it to herself. She
she
did it
did
to
it to
herself.
herself.
So since we're on the topic, just real quick, when it comes to marriage in America, what's your take on it? How is it a way that men and women can protect themselves? Is the prenup thing the way to go? Postnup thing the way to go?
I mean,
How do you do it?
the prenup is fine, but technically anything that just premarital is not marital property. It's something that you had beforehand is not marital property anyway. So, I've been pretty fortunate because I tend to get things before I get married, and I get very little when I get married. You know what I'm saying? And I always tell people it's half of what you can find, and that's a whole nother subject.
Half of what you can find.
Right?
Oh, that's the
You know,
game.
right. That's the game. That's half of what you can find. I got a friend of mine say, "Nigga, you need to get you a safe, put it somewhere else." But it's half of what you can find.
Wow. So get the gold, get the silver, maybe have some in Bitcoin. Not hiding it. You just diversifying.
Right.
Wow. Open accounts in your kids' names. Is that what they do?
Oh, they do all
Wow.
that. They open accounts in kids' name, got property in the dog's name. I've seen all kind of stuff happen. I got a corporation called a Colombian. I had never even used it. I saw something the other day. Colombian Community Property Inc. I just started it when I was going to get some property in Colombia. I never used it, but I said, maybe I need to get an account called Colombia and just put money up, because I'm not married, so it don't matter what I do. You know what I'm saying? But if I was married, Colombian Community Property would be cracking right now.
Wow. I remember that because you would definitely look at some properties. I was looking at some too. And if I didn't get my head cracked in the California family law system, I probably would have pulled the trigger on it. But
Hmm.
I mean, I'm in a situation now over 18 years. I'm well north of $500,000.
Hmm. Oh yeah,
California.
but now you can do some things. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
saw something that said, I Googled how long would it take for you to survive in Colombia with 500,000 in assets and $2,000 a month Social Security, and it said until time ends.
Oh, damn. With
I said, oh,
500,000 liquid and then $2,000 a month.
right. You could be well off for the rest of your life in Colombia.
Wow. Which is probably that whole region.
Hmm. Oh yeah, Peru, Colombia, anything over there. Yep,
Wow.
Brazil.
So to the young guys coming up, would you suggest that they get married, or would you suggest that they just do their research and plan before, or what would you say? Because I mean, you in the field.
I'm in the field, but I'm in the getting out of marriage business. Um, I'm not it's a funny thing. Marriage, I'm not against marriage. I'm against certain people, put it like that. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Because people get married for the wrong reasons. We tend to get married out of emotion. They tend to get married out of what you can do for me.
mm.
So men don't generally do that. We'll marry a Burger King worker if she fine enough. You know what I'm
Hey, I was trying
saying?
to marry the ice cream girl at McDonald's.
Right.
That girl was
Right. But women don't think like that. They think about what you can do for me, what you can provide for me. And so when the marriage turns, they're already in the mindset, well, what would I get now? It's like I remember when I got divorced, my ex looked at me and said, she ain't put a dime on the house. The house was here already. I put every penny in this house. She ain't made one payment. She says, well, if you was any kind of man, you just give me this house. I said, well, you should have married any kind of man because I ain't that kind of man, so you ain't put a nickel in this house. I give you, if you want some equity, you get your equity and you keep it moving, but you're not getting my house. That ain't gonna happen. But that's how they look at things. What can I get out of it when it's over? We don't look at it like that. But nowadays, the problem is women are making as much, if not more, money than men. So I've got more women now that's got to pay spousal support to men. I've represented 10 or 12 guys that got spousal support coming in monthly.
Just your
So
firm.
yeah. Yeah. So like this guy here, he's getting 2,500 a month for life. I got a guy last week. He's got to pay spousal support. I represent, he's getting spousal support. So it's just guys are getting it now. If a woman makes more and a substantial more, then she got to pay. And a lot of them don't understand that at all. At all. Ain't nothing like seeing a woman mad about that. She hates that, boy.
And let me ask you this question: in these situations when you're representing these guys, if the woman wasn't trying to be greedy and cutthroat, right? If they just played it nice, like, oh, let's just go our separate ways, would the guy even have tried to get a lawyer or whatever? Like, or would he just would have been like, okay, you're being nice, we're done. No one owes anybody by.
Well, it depends. I got a guy now I think she was just trying to say, let's just go and leave. And, everybody, you move on, blah, blah, blah. But the problem was she was making 4 times more money than him. So he's like, no, we ain't gonna just leave. That's all well and good if we're even. So it really depends now because the guys are starting to understand, well, she making more than me, I can get spousal support too. And so they want that money just like anybody else. It's hard, like I told a guy, I said it's hard to turn down $5,000 a month.
Right.
That's $60,000 a year. So if somebody gonna owe you 60,000, it ain't just about leaving now. What about my money?
What about my money? Or you keep that 60 grand a year and give me the house is worth 1.8.
Right.
We good.
Right. So like, yeah. It's a different animal now because women are making money. See, before they always getting the man's pension, getting the man's this, getting spousal support, getting child support. Now men are getting the kids, getting spousal support, and they want their half of the equity. Okay, you can have the house, but give me my half of that equity.
Right. I still get half of that pension.
Half the pension, right? So
And so people who watch me now, y'all know where I be getting my information from. Perry is one of my sources. And people are like, oh, you're always talking about the rich people. I'm like, well, I talk about the rich people, the famous people, because we know them, right? It's easy to talk about, Sir Lewis Hamilton and Kim Kardashian. But, here's the real question. Like when you look at Travis Kelce and his wife, she's a billionaire.
Right.
So if they were to divorce, if Taylor Swift decided she wanted to divorce after 7 years with, Kelce, what would that look like?
Well, I think he had to do a prenup because I don't think I don't think she's that stupid. I hope he wasn't that stupid. You should have called me. Yes, I'm sure she made him do a prenup.
Let's go on the premise that like there's no prenup. Let's say they were just young and dumb. She wanted to get married. They just ran off and did it. So you're married to a billionaire. You're a multimillionaire married to a billionaire. His net worth got to be what, like you get half?
He would get half what was acquired during the time of their marriage. If she acquired $10 million in those 7 years, that's $5 million that's his.
And half of any properties that were purchased or whatever?
Yep, anything that was acquired during the marriage is marital property.
Well, there y'all have it. And
I'll
go ahead.
That's like Rihanna. I always wondered, how much money Rihanna had to give away, because Rihanna's a billionaire. So I always wondered that, but I never looked into her, her divorces or whatever she even had going on.
I bet she didn't have no prenup.
She probably did.
Yep. I mean, I people ask me all the time. They're like, "Yo, Unc, would you ever get married?" I'm in my mid-50s. And I always say, no, I don't. I'm not looking to get married. The biggest thing is I have no problem. Like you, I have no problem with marriage. I have no problem with commitment, but I don't want to be involved with the government. And any money I lose, right? That's not money that I lost. That's money my daughter loses. Anything I lose, you're taking from her.
Right.
And at my age, I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I always say this: if you see me getting married, trust and believe that the woman I'm marrying, she makes minimum 3 times, or she's worth 3 times my net worth. And then I'll marry her. I'll sign your little prenup. We can do all that. And people like, oh, well, you just go digging. I'm like, no, she's making all that money. I'm not worried about losing anything if this thing goes sideways. I'm not worried about it. Like, all right, like if anything, she's gonna come to me like, hat in hand. Please don't take me to court, kind of thing. Like, oh, we good. I mean, you just gotta go talk to Perry real quick. Outside of that, we good.
I mean, I got a friend. He's trying to get married now, and police officers have what they call a drop, where you put a certain amount of money away and it's matched and all that other stuff. And she's got a lot of money in this drop. And they've been dating for 15 years, but he thinks he should be entitled to the drop. And then she's saying, no, you shouldn't be entitled to a penny because we ain't married. Okay, you dated me for 15 years. That ain't got nothing to do with my money. And she wants him to sign a prenup, but he won't do it because he wants part of the drop money in case something happened to her. And I'm telling her, you ain't gonna get that drop money. I can tell you, first of all, she's a cop, so she ain't stupid. Second of all, cops are real funny about their money. So I know you ain't getting that money. So, but he's holding in here trying to make her, marry him without that prenup. She's saying, no, it's gonna be a prenup, or you can keep going, you can keep moving. So it's gonna be interesting, but he's not getting that drop money. I can tell you that. I know enough, I represent enough cops. They're real funny about that drop money.
That's crazy. Well, let me ask you this, Perry. You think that there's a chance that we'll ever see like marital contracts? So people get married, like you do like a 3-year, you do a 5-year, and then at the end of the term, just renew or walk away or whatever?
I've advocated that many times, which I don't think that's ever going to happen. But I think it should. I think it should happen. It should be just like any other contract. After 5 years, if you don't want it, it's over.
Yeah, you just walk away. All the terms is stipulated in the contract. Like this is, we're gonna go because it makes no sense to me to sign a contract that's indefinite, right? And then you don't even control the terms. The state technically controls the term of the contract, right?
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, but that's I don't have anything against the marital institution. It's just who you marry. You better be careful who you marry. That's the name of the game.
Yeah. I'm all about commitment. Yeah, I'm about commitment, man. But I'm not trying to get into that mix. It's a bad bit. It's a merger. And if you're the person with the money, it's a bad merger. Just like Perry just told y'all, man. The court doesn't care about gender. They just want to know who has the money. Where's the money? What did Perry say? If you find it, you get half.
Yep.
That's another bar right there, bro. If you find it, you get half.
Right,
so
you gotta find it. If it's half of what you find.
Wow. So Perry, brother, I appreciate you, man. What are your final thoughts? We're about to wrap this up.
Well, I mean, I don't want, I know we talked a lot of bad things about Medellin, but Medellin is a great place to go. Just know what you're doing. I mean, it's a beautiful city. It looks like certain parts look like Los Angeles. I mean, Poblado is perfectly. It's a beautiful place, beautiful people, and it's a lot of good people in Medellin. But just like any other city, it's a lot of bad people. But you also got to understand that how that city flows, and it could be dangerous. It's like any other city. It's a big city. It's 3 or 4 million people. And it don't take much to go wrong. Just know what you're doing, be safe, and don't do anything stupid. Just don't lose your mind. Because a lot of guys go over there and see the amount of beautiful women they have and lose their mind. They lose all concept of reality. Oh, and everybody goes over there, falls in love. Sooner or later, somebody gonna fall in love with somebody. You gotta have somebody in the group to say, hey, fella, let's chill out on, you only known her 10 minutes. You don't love her yet. She don't even know your name. And I've had guys go over there, say they fell in love. The girl didn't even know the guy's name. He said, let me tell you this last story. I had a friend of mine. He said, Perry, when you go there, I want you to get this girl. She wants this baby oil. So I bought Johnson's baby oil for her, and I got this. So can you drop the baby oil? She's gonna come by to the hotel and get the baby oil. I said, what? So he had wrapped up the little baby oil. So she came by and she says, what's this guy's name? So I told her the name. She said, who? I said, hold on. So I pulled him up on Facebook. Oh, yeah. That's the guy who's supposed to be giving me some baby oil. She didn't even remember the guy. You know, and so, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, wait a minute, she don't even know him. So she says, he didn't give you the money to get to me? I said, no, he just said, give you the baby oil. So she said, can I use your bathroom? So I said, whatever. She goes in the bathroom. She come out butt naked. She said, I said, I said, whoa. I was like, what the? I thought you was, she don't even know that. I don't even, she used the N word. I don't even know that in name, you know. I don't even know him. I said, Lord have mercy.
But she like, you here, and I'm trying to leave up out of here with some money. So
Right. She said, I didn't get cash when I get home. This nigga, he ain't send me no money. I said, nah, he ain't send you no money. He sent you some baby oil. She said, what I'm gonna do with some baby oil? And the funny thing was, I went to the mall, to Santa Fe Mall. At the bottom of the mall is a grocery store. So I went to the grocery store, a whole roll of Johnson's baby oil. I said, you think they don't make it over here? As many babies as they got?
the only time they probably ever ran low on baby oils when Perry was when Puff Daddy was in town. He probably ran a little bit low that time.
Right. I was like,
Damn, bro. And
I mean, I was like, I didn't know what, I was so shocked. I was like, whoa. This guy. I said, Lord, I
that
told
is
him about it. I
fire,
said,
bro.
man, I told him about it. I said, man, I don't think that's your girl, man.
But I mean, it's easy to get caught up in that, man, because they're so feminine, man. They're beautiful.
Yeah,
Even though they in the game, when they with
yeah.
you, you get the girlfriend experience.
Oh yeah, boy, I had one girl, one of my boys, Ali. He said, man, she really liked that guy, and he was like, man, I'm watching her. She rubbing his head and massage. So Ali was like, he ain't got but two teeth in his mouth. She like him. I was like, he was like, she ain't got no teeth. I said, Ali, I don't know nothing about it, man. But she was rubbing his feet, rubbing it, and he thought that she was the greatest thing in the world, but. I said, that's all part of the game, bro. She don't know, she don't even know your name. She just trying to trying to get paid.
And that's a really good point. If you want to know if the woman really likes you, if she knows your name, and like I said, I've had women take me out in Medellin.
Mhm. Right.
And it's like, bro, like if they dig you and they ain't got no money like that, bro. She's like, and I of course, I don't know if she was playing the long game, but I put money in her bag, but she's like, no, baby, I want to, I'm, me take care of you. She just kept saying, me take care of you. I'm like, all right. But, I slid, I put a few 100,000 pesos in her purse. Maybe that was part of the game. I don't know. But she treated me so good, bro. She cooked,
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like,
They got some that they know the game well. They play it well, without a doubt,
yeah,
Out
and
that.
Perry had one of his girls send him a video of her salsa dancing. Cause you had mentioned
Oh
something
yeah.
about dancing.
Oh yeah. I had when I was me and Andrea was living together, her sister would wake up every morning at 6 o'clock and fix us breakfast. Bring us breakfast
Wow.
in bed. She said, and I told her, I said, why do you do this at 6 in the morning? I said, I don't even get up that early. She said, well, my sister says I have to have breakfast for you at 6 in the morning, and I have to wash the dishes by 6:30. And if you got any clothes, I mean, they need to be clean. I'm here to clean your clothes. And I was like, oh my God, it was crazy. They can put it on you now.
And that too. That part right there, and that's the end on that. They will absolutely put it on you, bro. You will, like Perry had to come get me out the McDonald's window, bro. I was ready to get married to that little girl making that ice cream cone, man. She was fine. But hey,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So but yeah, bro, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate all y'all checking us out, man. We're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna let Perry get comfortable,
Yeah,
man. He done had a long day, and then he jump on here with me, and I'm
my dog was tearing up the window trying to get in.
yeah, so it done put the dog out, man. So hey guys, I appreciate y'all. You heard what Perry said. If you know what I mean, if you're just joining us, man, definitely watch this on Team Replay. Perry just put us on all game down there in Medellin. You know what I mean? And really anywhere you want to travel in Central or South America or anywhere in the world. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Perry. You want anybody following you on social media or you anything like that or no?
Nah, I'm good. I use social media. People need a lawyer to just PDJ PDJ Lawyer 123 on Instagram. That's all it is.
Hit him up and watch his commercials, y'all. Watch the commercials. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. So, that's my man Perry Davis right there. I'm DL Saint. This is That I Really Want to Know podcast. We out of here, y'all. We're gonna holler at y'all later. Peace.
Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
Darn, that's the end.
Thanks for watching. We really appreciate your support. And if you like that video, check out this one or maybe that one. We'll see you around. Peace.